confirmed thing.
Hi, everybody. I think we're streaming. It says we're live.
We are live.
For 10
It says
seconds.
we're live. Oh, I should sit up straight so that I can be seen because I'm sort of sagging.
I don't know. I don't have the link, honey. I don't know where it is.
Hey everyone, how are you doing? Hope you're doing a good life and all that good stuff. Hope your life is going good. We were just before the stream talking about our childhoods, and more than one of us have childhood, shall we say, loves of Weiss and Hickman.
Hang on a second, because it's not.
Oh
it's
God!
Just showing a chicken.
We have commercials.
We have commercials.
Yeah. Oh my God, Matthew, you sold out.
Oh yay!
Now we're sponsored by Wingstop or something.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. Except I'm not that sorry.
Okay, we're cool.
We're cool now? Okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
For whatever reason, on my phone, it was showing that what it had happened was it had started the stream and then subsequently ended it, so it was showing a 16-second broadcast. So I wanted to make sure that you didn't cover anything important.
I was not going to cover anything important. I was going to start with wasting time, because sometimes I start with wasting time.
Wasting time.
I know. So anyway, we were discussing our love of Margaret Weiss, and Faye mentioned the anime, to which I reply graciously, have you seen the Russian musical?
No. What?
Yes.
There is no idea what you guys are talking about.
Fully staged Russian musical of Dragonlance. And if you have not seen it, then I don't know what to tell you. I definitely am not recommending it. But like one should definitely have watched it.
Wow.
So, yes, it is amazing. And yes, Raceland is the main character.
Yes. Whomst?
Of course.
Yeah,
Raceland Majere.
Yeah, my high school girlfriend, all of her writing was basically the main characters were just Raceland clones. But she admits that, and that was fine, and it's totally acceptable, and I'm not putting her on blast.
Are we not? We're streaming live right now.
Oh, shit. Right.
Of course. Of course. No, it's a good thing. Raceland clones are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful clones. It's the first time we had, like, fantasy characters that were complicated-ish.
Yeah,
you know?
and also when you're a teenager, you're allowed to, draw from things that, you love.
Yeah, and how could you not love Raceland?
Yeah.
You could not know who they are.
That is totally fair. But if you were a fan of Dragonlance, how could you not love Raceland?
Yeah.
Anyway. Hi everyone. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Welcome. We are going to play in just about a minute. I just wanted to say, though, that we are now a stream that one can more than follow. You can subscribe. We haven't really done anything with that yet. Yeah, we have ads now. Sorry about that, I guess, sort of, except not really at all. So, yes, welcome to the stream, and we'll over the next month slowly get better at doing that and figure out how to make that happen in a more efficient way. But I thought I'd let you know that you can now subscribe to us. And if you do so, well, we would appreciate it. Don't worry too much, though.
And if you do so, no refunds or exchanges, store credit only.
I actually have no power in that. That's between you. That's between you and Twitch, or rather you and Amazon.
Well, the important thing is that you can send your checks or money orders to 425.
Yes, if you want to pay me, you can pay my PayPal account. I don't know why you want to randomly give me money, but I won't turn it down because I like money being given to me. So, I guess, sort of. I don't know. I have a
2020, y'all, our respective candidates need donations. Let's get on it.
Matthew for president?
Yeah.
Let's not go there.
Punch of Fascist 2020.
Punch of Fascist 2020. I like it.
Can you hang on 1 second? I realized that my notebook for this campaign is upstairs, and I need to
I
go
will
grab
continue to vamp while you go grab it.
All right, I'll be right
I will vamp like a mofo. It's what I do. Excellent. So go, Jess. Yeah. So some of us have had stressful weeks, which is why we're blowing some steam playing some Dungeons and Dragons. Some of us more so than others. So please bear with us as we do this whole thing. I am very much looking forward to this party. I have a whole set of party rules that I can toss at these people. We'll see what happens. And party rules, I know.
Oh my god.
What about
Hold on.
party rockers?
Oh, hold on. I need to pull up what I've written of Juno's book on etiquette.
Ooh. If we don't
I'm
have
excited.
Sorry for Party Rocking going on in the background, is it even a proper heist?
It's a necessity.
Yes.
I think that's very, very true. So, whatever, we'll figure it out. I'll take this moment to say that next week we will not be dark, but I will not be here. Instead, we will have a guest game master, Marcus, aka Spicy Curry Bread, from our other stream, will be running a game of, I think, Vampire the Masquerade. Is that what was voted on? I think that was
Something
what was
like
voted on.
that.
Yeah.
Cool.
think so,
That'll be
yeah.
fun. And then he's also, I think, running a game this coming Thursday as well. I think he's running City of Mists on this Thursday. So,
Oh no.
go enjoy that stuff. I will not be here because I am in Boston hanging out with this lovely human. I think that's the right direction. I can't really tell. In person, which will be fun. But I am coming back from Boston slightly later than they are because of things. And my brother lives in Boston. I get to hang out with my brother.
Yay!
My brother's the bestest, and I'm really excited to hang out with him. So I'm all happy and good with that stuff. Okay. Well, there's all our announcements and time wasting and vamping. And Jess/Samhain has returned
Yes.
with their notebook.
Oh yeah. Guess what? I leveled up.
You leveled up?
Yeah.
Oh, that means I have to make a belief, right?
It does. So
Oh my
let's,
gosh.
I didn't make one.
So let's so I want to talk about beliefs a little bit. I realize now that there's an aspect of the burning wheel system that I love that I failed to capture very well when I copied the belief system into D&D. And it has led to some problems, and I don't exactly have a solution yet, but I just want you guys to know that I'm aware of these problems and I'm looking and thinking about a solution. Maybe one of you guys will have a solution, who knows? But in the burning wheel system of beliefs, one of the things that's important is that they have two different types of experience points. They've got both fate and persona. And because of that, if you work towards accomplishing a belief, you get a fate point. And if you accomplish a belief, you get a persona point. That means that you're getting rewarded even if you don't complete a belief, theoretically, if you do everything right, if you're working towards accomplishing your belief. D&D only has one type of experience point. It's called an experience point. And we have different ways of measuring and things like that, but we don't really have two different systems for experience points to be spent. So the result of that is that sometimes if we don't get far enough in time, then Thomas doesn't get to complete his belief.
Frequently.
And, well, hey, it's happened once out of one time. So that's midly 100% of the time, yes. But nonetheless, I do want to say that I am aware of that problem, and I am considering it, and I am thinking about what to do with that and coming up with a solution. I'll probably be looking at lots of games this weekend and thinking about ways of stealing from somewhere else to make that work in a more compelling and interesting way, if that makes sense.
Close. Really?
So,
We're just gonna kick it off like this, huh?
well, the cat stream is the best stream. Always gotta love a good cat stream.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to draw and her butt is in your way.
Exactly.
The best.
Cat stream equals best
Yes.
stream. Not plus. Equals. Okay, so I just want you guys to know that I'm aware of that problem, and I'm considering that problem, and I am thinking about what to do with that problem. From that perspective, Jess, what did you get when you leveled up?
Nia, would you be willing to help me out?
Yeah. What did you get? What wasn't on here before? Let me think.
Oh, I guess I can probably jump to that. Let's see, it's level 5.
Yes.
So you got 3rd level spells.
Yes.
So you got 2 3rd level spells probably, right? You're a bard.
That's
Cool.
right. What did I pick?
You picked.
I
It
picked
looks like you picked
non-detection.
non-detection and tongues.
Yes. That's right, I
Interesting
did.
choices. Why did you pick non-detection and tongues, Jess?
Well, Samhain has a class feature that allows him to understand creatures that don't necessarily speak his language. But I picked up the tongues because I thought it'd be helpful for my fellow party members who don't have access to that class feature, and thought that it might behoove us to have that. I picked up non-detection.
Sorry.
Because we are going to a party at a fascist establishment.
Mm.
And
As you
I
do.
Don't. Yeah. What was my whole reasoning for picking that? Oh, because we know that some not great stuff is going on, and someone's doing truth spells on people. I know that doesn't negate a truth spell. However, it does prevent people from scrying me or whomever I touch. So, like, if we need to, like, disappear inside this building that we're in, we can do that, and they're not going to be able to find me.
Yeah, non-detection. It's the soul wood of spells. Excellent. Okay, let's go over everyone's beliefs one more time. Make sure that we're very clear on them and what
Good,
they
because
are.
mine has changed.
Okay. Kaz, what is Kazan's belief?
Her belief is I must protect my identity as a double agent, no matter the cost, and I will do so by ensuring Lady Iria's survival.
Excellent. Faye, what is Juniper's belief?
I feel really unprepared. I don't really. I'm having a hard time with it actually, because it's like, okay, we have to get the stuff done, but you know, it's honestly kind of like, I don't know.
So let's think about it. When I'm struggling with a belief, one of the things I like to do is I like to think about supposing there was no external pressure, supposing nothing was going on in the world, right? Supposing there was no urgency. What is the first thing my character would do, and why?
I don't know. Everything's urgency right now. So I'm not sure. Like, she's in a purely reactive state at the moment.
Yeah, that makes it hard to come up with a belief. Maybe then a belief about the way in which you react, right? Does she want to react more rationally than she has in the past? Does she want to react more decisively than she has in the past? Does she want to, I don't know. I'm spitballing ideas here.
I don't know. Sorry. This is one of those things where it's like, I genuinely have no idea. I've been drawing a blank this whole week. So can I think about it and come back to me?
Absolutely. Of course. 100%. Don't worry about it. Sarah, sounds like you have your new belief. You've replaced your old belief with a new belief.
Yes. I know that we are really trying to get to this party and accomplish some stuff. So there were a few RP elements that I was very interested in that I feel kind of got rushed towards the end of the last game, but it did impact how Thomas would be approaching things at the start of this game.
Okay.
Basically, because he was able to receive a short note back from Endez that was basically like, wait to get me out, after sending him a short message that, you know, it would be soon. And Endez was like, hold up. Thomas kind of had to struggle with that a little bit.
Okay.
Because he does not trust Endez to handle things necessarily.
By the way, new character.
And on, oh my God, sorry, it was right in front of my face. Sorry.
Don't make deal. It's still on the overlay. That's why we're getting a new overlay. So.
Good times, great oldies.
Yep. No worries.
But what's it? Lois. Sorry, she's bathing her face in such a way that she keeps pulling our headphones out. Basically, hi. Everything was kind of jumbled up there at the end. He didn't know whether to trust Inon because he's already proven himself to be extremely chaotic and a danger to the group. But at the same time, he, having been in his position with no hope and no chances to get out, he doesn't want to potentially ruin things if Inon is figuring out a way. And also with his new information about the fireworks that are happening, I would have liked a chance to, you know, as he was about to get in the carriage, like send Mercury off with one last note saying fireworks tonight.
Got it. Yes, that easily could have happened.
Yeah. So based on that, and on the fact that he's kind of relinquishing control of this situation, despite the fact that it's hard for him, I would like to change Thomas's belief to, despite the chaos about what is currently going on around us, I will focus on the good that I can do and work to retrieve the package tonight and complete our mission with as few distractions as possible. Like he's going to double down on
the mission.
Basically,
I think that's
the mission and kind of
great. Yeah. So you your goal is to focus on the package.
He's going to send feelings out of the room.
Yeah. I wanna push on this a little bit and see if we can get it into a little bit more specific territory.
Okay.
Just for a second. Why is Thomas focusing so much on the package? What is the emotional stake going on here? What's the feeling?
Basically, he does not have a lot of control in this situation. He has felt like he's lacked control ever since things went down outside the tavern and people are getting arrested and he was about to have to go to a jail. He also knows that the plan about lying to Blackice wasn't perfect. Like, I love Juno, but she didn't necessarily have to tell him that. It was super risky in several ways for him. And hi, Lois. Tonight the part of Thomas will be played by. What's it?
Someone for you.
Yeah, if possible. Oh yeah, he trimmed his beard. It's closer to his jawline now. I'll drop a picture of that. But what's it? Basically, there's a lot going on that's outside of his control. He can't do much to help his new friends, the goblin and halfling couple. He couldn't do a lot to stop Samhain from having to get in a fight the other night. The stuff going on with his patron is Looney Tunes, and he has no idea what is going down. What he can do is use his talents to stop people from getting hurt, and that is the one thing that he has control over. And the most easy way to accomplish that right now is to focus on the mission in front of them.
So your belief isn't just to accomplish the mission, it's to, like, it's actually the part of your belief that is most interesting is the idea not to accomplish the mission, but to accomplish the mission with as few distractions as possible. It's to Thomas, it's the focus that matters. It's the ability to exert control on the chaotic world around him.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's great. That's awesome. I love it. Sounds good to me. Jess, let's check in with you. How are you doing with your belief?
Well, this is my first time having one since I leveled up.
I know.
Yay.
Welcome.
Let's see.
She supports you.
Faye, plug your ears.
Oh, hold on, let me take off my headphones.
I'll just have both of them right now. This is fine.
I can't hear you at all.
Good.
No, I seriously can't. I have no idea what's being said.
So I guess my belief would be having
Lois, don't shoot him.
I guess my belief would be protecting Milla stepwise as is asked of me. But it comes with a price.
Yeah. Okay, so your belief is going to be about protecting Milla.
Yes. If I need to at this party, then that's...
Yeah. So a friend of mine has asked something. I will extract something in return and then carry out their wishes. Is that correct?
Yeah. I don't know what I want yet, though. Does
that matter? Something. No, not at all.
Favor owed.
Right?
Yeah. No, that's basically it.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah. So your belief is going to be about protecting Mel stepwise. I think that's great. I love it. Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Faye
can have the earbud
you can get
back.
Faye back in.
Tell me when I can put the headphones back.
Oh, they say that I should just have both of the earbuds for the
Honey, darling, please. Okay, I think I'm good on mine too.
You think you're good on yours? Excellent.
Yeah.
What do you have, Faye?
Well, Juno thinks that she has. This is not based off of the fact that I just couldn't hear Solon. By the way, I already had this planned by the time Sarah was done.
What's it?
Well, and also I knew this before, but Juno feels like she's kind of like compromised Solon. Well, she knows that she's compromised Solon, and she feels absolutely terrible about it in a very big way. So long-term goal, I guess, is to like ensure Solon's safety and make sure that like Solon actually knows that he's safe. But right now, in the immediate sense, you know, she wants to make sure that everybody gets out of this alive, including like she wants to be able to support Mela here while still maintaining the mission and without compromising the group's safety. Like she wants to be able to balance both of these without having to. She wants to prove that she can do something good and something right. Without being duplicitous.
Yeah, so your goal is to
keep everyone alive for now, and then more specifically keep Solon safe.
It's not that though, right? Your goal is actually your self-directed goal. Your belief is that I will prove that I can accomplish good things without lying or being duplicitous.
Yeah. Without being duplicitous towards the people that she cares about.
Okay, yeah, that's a different line. That's an interesting line, but that's a different line.
Because she needs to lie to get in.
That's fair. Yeah. So without being duplicitous towards the people she cares about, she will accomplish something positive.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it.
See, when we've played Burning Wheel for several years, we'll be able to pop out these like bomb diggity phrasings also.
I have not played Burning Wheel for several years. I played it in 2 different one-shots, like respectively 5 years ago and 3 years ago, and then have been running a persistent campaign since June. So I'm not that experienced. Don't give me too much credit, but you'll get there. I think one of the things that you'll see is that like one of the things that I'm pushing on is like that, you know, having your belief align with the goals of the campaign or the goals of the story is a good thing, right? We want to do that, but we also want to make sure that it's still your belief. So we want to focus it, or we want to twist it so that it's about your relationship to that thing a little bit, right? There's one thing, like the standard belief, like for an adventure would be something like, I want to get to the dragon at the cave, in the back of the cave, and get their treasure, right? That's fine, but it doesn't say anything about your character. What we want instead is something like, I want to prove my worth to my allies by leading them through the traps of this cave, right? Now there's something for you to do, and like there's maybe someone else is better at dealing with traps, but now you have a belief about it. So there comes conflict and direction and drama and storytelling. Ooh, who would have guessed? Drama and storytelling? I like drama and storytelling. Who would have guessed? So there you go. That's the idea. So everyone happy with their beliefs?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Thomas sends Mercury off with a note to
yeah, you gotta think about it for a second, huh?
To Enon, and dusk starts creeping up. Kaz is in the carriage with Lady Iria. She looks remarkably composed for someone who was recently attacked. She had another change of clothes, and she has changed into her evening gown, which you saw her in earlier. Samhain and Juniper together are making their way towards the events of this place. It's not uncommon for people to be heading here. There's this rich, fancy party inside, but there's a large balcony that looks out on this square that has performers and street performers and dancers and all sorts of normal, non-phenomenally wealthy people celebrating as well. It's a big gathering. Let's do a quick just look at everyone in their fancy duds and what everyone's wearing and how it all feels, and how you feel while you're wearing your clothing. Not just like what you're wearing and what you look like, but what does your character feel like wearing this? Is it different than what you normally wear, and does it make you feel good? Does it make you feel itchy and uncomfortable? Are you worried about practicality? Let's start with Kaz.
Well, Kaz, seeing as her job requires her to be active and such, she's wearing her armor, but on top she's wearing a deep blue, I guess it's an abaya. It's kind of like a robe-like dress, and it's rather sheer material. And she's wearing a headdress, so she can pull a hood over her face if she so needs. I think it is not the first time she has had to wear something like this. I think she's been to events where she's had to kind of wear a dress on top of armor, so she's not uncomfortable. And I think it might feel a little bit familiar to her in a way.
Yeah, of course. So it's not uncomfortable, it feels familiar. You're not wearing armor though, right?
She's wearing her armor underneath the dress.
Okay. So how does that work? Is this dress like super bulky? Is it designed for this? How does this?
So I imagine that it's like an abaya, which is basically just a robe, and it's made out of very, very thin material, and you can basically just put it on top. She wears chainmail, so I don't think there's any like bulky plates on her arms.
Okay.
So she's mostly wearing chainmail underneath it.
Yeah. Wonderful. That sounds great.
Just for the group, does it look like the art that you put in the Discord?
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for.
That's really lovely. You're really good.
Sounds wonderful. Let me pull it up just because I am curious.
Yeah, and she's definitely wearing Juniper's cape as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh man, that's gorgeous. Wonderful. So you are in a carriage with Lady Iria and heading up to this main event, and Lady Iria looks at you and says, "It was a good thing I hired you."
Well, I could have certainly done a much better job in the moment, but I'm glad you still feel so.
Stay close tonight.
That's the plan.
And she nods. And the camera pans from there to several streets over. A carriage pulls up, and this is an incredibly elegant carriage. The horses are both midnight black and probably dyed to look that way. It's as is the fashion and style. The carriage is covered in sort of gold filigree, and is dark and has curtains covering, blocking the light. A coachman hops off the coach and steps down the stairs and steps down and opens the door and pulls out like a little fold-out staircase and turns and bows deeply. And the camera pulls up and we see Thomas. What is Thomas looking like?
And not even a cat knocking over a garbage can can take away the beauty of that moment. All right. Thomas locks his door. Mercury's probably not back yet, but he should kind of have instructions to follow at a distance, try to not be seen, but stay close. Thomas, because everybody went shopping earlier that day, montage, etc., found himself a kind of cream-colored, like kind of golden, cloudy-colored wraparound satin shirt. It's like a tie front, so it goes deep in the front. He has some linen trousers with a little bit of metallic thread shot through, kind of reds and golds. And he also chose kind of a longer, it's like it's like a cloak. It's probably meant to be fastened in some way, but he's wearing it more loosely. It has a bit of a shape like a moth with quite a long tail, or possibly a stingray that trails behind him just a little bit, but basically it's kind of like draped over the shoulders. It catches him right about at mid-arm. And he is not wearing his usual amount of kind of jewelry that takes up a lot of space on his wrists. He maybe has like a freshwater pearl string or a couple of small bangles. His only neck jewelry is his pendant for Tamden, which he has had for a long time. It's probably like the nicest thing he has in terms of quality. Like, it's probably gold. But as a result of not covering up his wrists and his neck too much, you can see some older scarring, kind of like scars from shackles across his wrists and on the sides of his neck. And he is wearing his hair loose, and he's trimmed up his beard, a little bit of eyeliner, nothing too fancy, but he is looking elegant and ready to step back into it.
General Quick Eyes steps down the stairs and looks at you and bows. And as you straighten, you sort of get a look at him, and he is he's wearing sort of formal military regalia. It's not what we would think of as formal military regalia now, but it is certainly for the time. It's sort of a deep sea blue color, and with gold cross stitching on it, and buttons up. He has on his left breast pocket just row of military awards and regalia, and he's got the full general stripes on his shoulder as well. His hair, which is gray, he cut it, so it's much shorter than it was before. It's still got a little bit of length to it, but it sort of curls out a little bit. And around his neck, you see a religious symbol as well. This one dedicated to Dawa, the goddess of ships.
Lois, alert.
What is she doing?
She's getting into
ruining this moment.
She's going into the food cabinet. I'll step away while you do that.
Maybe she should go in with Fiddle.
Oh, Jesus.
And
yes, anyway.
Mm-hmm. So he bows and he looks up at you. He looks incredibly nice, but you have a keen eye, and so you look up and down, and you just notice that he's dressed incredibly nicely, but his boots are like his working boots. These are practical boots. They have practical boot lives in them, and that's just who he is. He offers his hand and says, "My lord."
Excuse me while I, Sarah, spontaneously combust. Thomas is a put together person who has his life in order somewhat. I am not that.
I know the feeling.
Thomas takes his arm and kind of pats him on the shoulder and says, "Don't we clean up?"
Yes, it's nice to see you in your finery. I haven't had the privilege yet. This should be fun, right? A good evening with a lot of, I don't know, fun events. And he sort of walks you into the carriage, and the door closes and the stairs fold up and you're seated there. He sits on the same side as you so that you're facing up forward, both of you. And he just looks at you and says, do you know High Priest Kaler?
No, but if you hum a few bars.
He laughs.
Well, is this the High Priest of Tamden now?
No. He's the High Priest of Gyatsa, the goddess of war.
Then do I need to make do you know somebody roll?
You're welcome to if you'd like. Yeah, absolutely. Charisma
Or if
check.
I can just say that I know them.
Yeah, no, let's actually. I think a charisma check is the right thing here.
Okay. First,
See
awkward
how they
pause
relate.
as I pull up the character sheet up now.
No worries. Awkward pauses are part of streaming.
And awkward pause. I'm sorry about one cat in particular.
No worries.
She was just staring at me as I was trying to get her down.
Yeah, that's on brand.
That sounds like her.
Okay, charisma?
Yep. 25. Yeah, you know Brother Kaler, and you have a good relationship with High Priest Kaler. Sorry. You probably know High Priest Kaler from a while ago. But High Priest Kaler sort of made a reputation during the war, blessing troops, and sort of during the Sunaran occupation, sort of pushing Sunaran out militaristically, and probably had like some sort of positive relationships with General Quick Eyes, who we're working with here. Also, of note, you would know that Kaler is Quick Eyes' ex-boyfriend.
This is so fucking juicy. Sorry. I don't mean to take us out of the moment.
No worries. Here for the juice.
We'll blame it on the juice. It's great. Yes, I believe we're acquainted. Quite a courageous person.
Yes. Primarch Blackice made him the sort of surprise guest of honor tonight.
Are you going to be able to have it together?
Oh,
how
no,
are you doing, I suppose?
Oh no, I'll be fine, of course. I just it's surprising. And he sort of looks around and says, like, just it's an odd match.
An odd match for Blackice to choose him, or?
I guess I don't. It's all. What am I thinking? I don't know how to say this. Here now, and he looks like he's trying to. He looks like he's acting a little bit, like he's trying to act like I don't really know what I'm trying to say. But then when he says, "I don't know how to say this," and then he looks at you sharply and says, "Here and now," very explicitly, trying to hope that you'll interpret something into that. But it strikes me as unusual.
Without missing a beat and understanding what he's saying, Thomas says, "Well, General, I thought we could wait until later." And he hooks a hand behind his neck and kisses him.
Yes!
He is surprised, but absolutely goes with it.
After a second, Thomas kind of leans around behind him, like wall side, to whisper in his ear, and he says, "The package has been delivered. It's in a small suitcase," very quietly.
And while you're doing that, he whispers right back to you, "My driver is a spy." And then kisses you again.
Okay.
Yes.
So after a moment, Thomas kind of pulls back and just kind of like looks him up and down, like he's very satisfied with what just happened, and kind of like rests a hand on his thigh.
Yeah. And he entwines his fingers between yours.
I think this is going to be quite the eventful evening.
Yes, I'll be curious. I know all of these people, and you knew some of them, but
I know most of their
people.
children and grandchildren through word of mouth, so not the most solid connection, but
yes. Well, you'll have a good. It'll be good to get your take on some of these people and some of these. I haven't. Just get a fresh set of eyes,
Well, I'm glad I could provide a take.
And he, I think the camera goes down and looks at your hand on his thigh and his fingers interlaced with yours, and he just sort of gently squeezes you, and the camera fades to black. and comes up on Samhain and Juniper. How are you two getting here to this event? What do you think is the, our bodyguard and our rich date are getting like star quality treatment? How do our commoners get in?
Well, don't we walk?
Yeah.
Also, if you don't dish the dirt to Juno, friendship over.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, yeah, carrying on. Yeah, I'm assuming we walk. Yeah, Solid?
Yeah, we're walking.
Mhm.
I did want to take the time to just to ask a question.
Go for
General
it.
Quick Eyes wasn't touching the hand that the electric ring lives on, was he?
Almost certainly not.
Is Thomas wearing a glove?
No, he pointedly
Sat on the other side or whatever.
Empty so that like people can see the scarring, but he's cognizant of this thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it was just.
Thank you just for that reminder. No, I think if I were a director and was editing this rather than improvising all this, we would have seen a shot of Thomas choosing the side of to sit on the side of the general, so that his hand that was next to the general would not be our electricity hand, our nudie branching hand, as we say.
Yeah.
Everybody, shut up! Just shut up!
Yeah, so we're walking.
Yeah. And the streets are crowded. There's a lot of busy people, a lot of people who are celebrating. Again, this is like our first big celebration since the explosion that killed Perla Ironwalker and Illumina Starborn and 42 other people. It's like a big hullabaloo. People are definitely very excited. There's dancers in the street. There's sort of a weird pallor over all of it, again, because our ritual this morning, there was this pouring of water, which was supposed to be a dumping of water, but as it was poured, the water became blood, just as a refresher for everyone's memory. And that is still, shall we say, casting a pallor over some things. But where you guys are right now, it's mostly celebratory still. It's definitely, that's the focus. As you get closer to the building, in sort of the area outside, there's a lot of people who are there, and there's still a lot of celebration, lots of tips going on. But you notice that there are more people whispering, like, "But you heard about the blood, right? What does it mean?" And someone replies, "Oh, it's got to be something bad. I don't remember the last time. I don't think I've ever seen something that obviously bad, And then someone else says, "Well, or it's good. You never know. Like, it's hard to interpret." Sort of the gods speaking. I mean, someone else says it could have been the gods speaking. The gods have never spoken to us before. That's not since the Age of Heroes have gods been around. Why, Asha saw to that. And everyone sort of blessedly talks about Asha, Saran Saral, who banished the gods from the realm for some reason or other.
Yeah.
And for that reason, you'll have to check out other campaigns of mine. So, but it's the two of you heading up there together. You guys have are in the crowd if you want to talk.
Well, I do want to note that Juniper is wearing a dress, and it's nice. And I want to talk about her dress.
Yes, please.
Just for a brief moment, which of course she's lifting off of the ground just a little bit so she doesn't get dust, because that is the height of impropriety to get dust on your dress. But of course, it's also improper to show your ankles, but whatever. Sacrifices must be made. But she's wearing a cream colored dress, and it has poofy, gauzy sleeves. And there is a gradient of white flowers, white cloth flowers that are sewn onto it. So it looks kind of like there's a white garden of flowers around the midsection that trails up and then trails down until it kind of disappears into little dots, sort of tiny petals. Which is nice. And but she is in Foxfolk, guys. She's not an elf. Also partly because the whole possible Sunera drama that may or may not happen. Might as well be the least intimidating as possible while still being pretty. But yeah, I'd say that Juno is maintaining a somewhat awkward silence for a while unless Solon chooses to break it.
And Solon, what are you wearing?
Hang on, I have to pull up a picture because I'm not gonna remember it. So Sawin's wearing. He switched out all of his silver accoutrement for gold earrings. So he's left the piercings in his tail. He was not going to take those out. He doesn't care if it's impolite.
Is it impolite? Do we know that? That's cool.
I don't know.
Should a lady of quality weigh in?
Is it a little bit like a rebel piercing that like most tieflings wouldn't get? Like it's a little bit. It's not like it's impolite, but it's a little bit like I don't know, like a.
He's got
like it's not polite society, shall we say?
Yeah. So like his ears, like from the upper portion of like the cartilage all the way down to the lobe, is like. At least has some piercing of some sort, and then he's got 3 on his tail.
Yeah.
But not, I know that I had him remove them when he was going to, when he was in that duel, so I just kind of assumed that, like, if not a lot of people have, like, piercings, then he's not gonna remove them.
Yeah.
He's wearing a black suit. He's wearing a corset that's two-tone, so it's like white paneling with like a blue purple in the center where it fastens together. A lilac colored tie and a white dress shirt.
Nice.
That sort of matches the white that's in the corset.
And how does he feel wearing this?
Comfortable. I mean, it's only like a step above of what he normally wears every day. So it's not he's just added a suit coat essentially.
Yeah, that sounds right. He's added a jacket. It's a formal evening, not a casual evening, so you know, add a jacket. I like it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And the tie too. Like he doesn't normally wear a tie, but he definitely wears like nice dress slacks and like a corset.
Awesome.
While he's out and about.
So you're walking in awkward silence, and I think the camera does that thing where it like paces back and forth between you guys to show that it's like an awkward silence. Samhain, do you break that silence?
Yeah, I will.
And when and where? What's the circumstance? Set the scene for me.
I think I would want to do it when there's still noise going on from people like celebrating. I wouldn't want to do it as we get closer to the venue. Just because I don't want to be overheard. So I'm just going to lean down into Juno's ear and say, I've been doing some thinking about what you told me earlier.
Oh, yeah?
You asked me for a favor.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Out of character, yeah, you asked for help protecting Mela Stepwise if shit went down at the party.
Yeah, I did.
So, in character again. So, a favor given is a favor owed. And then that's all he says, and he straightens back up and readjusts himself.
Juno is not going to react well to that. She's going to kind of stiffen up a little bit and kind of do like a soft little like, oh, like understanding, like, oh, I get this now. And she is going to try to comport herself in as businesslike way as possible, while hiding the fact that like her heart may be breaking into 1,000 little tiny pieces right now because she might be misinterpreting some things.
Does it show on her face?
I don't know. She's gonna try not to let it show.
Yeah, so what does hearing this make you feel like, Juniper?
Well, it makes her feel like she's been in a situation like this before. She assumes that she is being blackmailed, and that, just like in, previous situations, she was kind of maybe a little, maybe she was a little too naive to put trust in people, and is a little broken up about it, but at least is like, well, at least I know what to do in this kind of situation. At least I've been here before. I know what the rules are, kind of thing.
Do your hands shake? Are you in control of your body in this moment?
More like a fisting hands and dress, and just kind of like trying to put on as much of a no-nonsense, like, pose as possible. It's kind of like, it's almost like a a muscle memory thing.
And so you actually have a flashback to past blackmailing attempts.
Yeah.
Or experiences.
Yeah.
How real is this flashback for you? Do you see it? Or do you just feel it inside?
I think she's going to remember someone saying something very similar to her in the past. Like, I'm going to do this favor for you, so you're going to have to do a favor for me, kind of thing. And that memory is so kind of like malicious and terrible and just like wreathed with like this kind of misery, that it's almost kind of shocking to hear it from Solon. Like, it's kind of like there's this weird juxtaposition, because Solon is kind of like, to her, she's, she likes Solon. She thinks Solon's pretty great. And
it was literally last night that you went to bat for Solon with Mela Stepwise without, you chose not to reveal who Solon was to Mela Stepwise.
Yeah.
Do you regret that decision now?
No, I think Juno thinks that she deserves this. That maybe before she deserved it in a sense, because she was lying about herself in order to get through the school, and she slipped up. And that was her fault for not being vigilant. But in this case, she deserves it because she wasn't honest from the get-go, and she didn't kind of make changes fast enough. So
she feels like a failure as a friend.
A failure as a friend, yes, but then also like, here's what she thinks is a new side of Solon. Here's like a new side of what their relationship is. It's no longer like she feels like she's lost a friend at this exact moment, and that instead of a friendship, what they have now is going to be a business transaction. And it's harder for her to deal with that loss now than it would have been when she was isolated and alone and had no friends and was being blackmailed.
So in some ways, the experience of being blackmailed before was easier because it was strangers who were lording themselves over you.
Yeah.
Now it's someone that you thought was a friend, and so it's twice the breaking.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it honestly could, and from like a player perspective, probably not what Solon was going for. But from Juno, with the context she has, this is a completely different meaning.
So it's going to be noticeable that there's a change in her demeanor and her kind of like look. Her eyes are going to come a little bit vaguer, a little bit customer servicey. She's gonna go straight back into survival mode.
Her fur bristles a little.
Yeah, just a little. And she's going to, after a moment, be like, well, regarding your performance tonight, will you be... I'm going to be doing some illusions for you. Is there a certain song that you would like to have illusions for? Is it like, what kind of a set are we looking at? What kind of mood are you meaning to portray? Because I want to know what kind of illusion I should cast.
Did I notice like her reaction at all to it?
Why don't you roll an insight check?
How many tails does Juniper have now?
She has 2. She hasn't gone to sleep and gotten the 3rd one yet.
Oh, okay.
Let's roll an insight check. I'm going to set the DC at... I don't think it's incredibly high, but I do think it's a little bit high because Juno is relatively good at hiding this stuff. So I'm going to set the DC at 15. Nia, can you roll that for me?
Oh, please and thank you, Nia.
Hold on one second. I will roll it for you. 1 second. So an insight check.
If I remember, this is not a skill I'm good at.
You're not bad. You have a +4, but you got a 7.
Yeah.
So I think that the answer is that no, you're not really aware of this at the moment. I think you can be aware of any demeanor changes in spoken word choice of Juniper's, but no, you're not aware that you have had this devastating effect.
All right. So I'm trying to think like what I don't want to make the event really incredibly sad. That was my goal at the beginning. But I don't think that would be wise considering I might be the only tiefling in the room, and given my prior interactions with Magli Blackice, I think I'm going to keep everything very much Yemis focused. But if I get asked to play the hero song, I'm going to play it like I did at Skunk Maid's house.
Wonderful.
So Sawin will just say, I'm going to cater to the audience. It's not what you or I believe, but they'll eat it up. So if you would be so kind as to do choral imagery or imagery underneath the ocean, I think that the guests will be pleased, and that will be enough.
I can do that.
And I guess I'll leave it at that. I guess what I also want to do is, because I know that he's perverting what Yemis is for to suit his own needs, like perverting the message that Yemis has about.
Let's do a quick talk about this because I think it's worth talking about. We've obviously chatted about it a little in chat, but let's talk about it on stream a little bit so that anyone who's watching can follow along as well. So Yemis we've talked about as being a god of reefs and corals. Specifically, the idea that reefs and corals are places where things come together for sort of a group collective vibe, a group collective feeling. So there's like a coming together aspect of the Yemis worship. What Magli Blackice has done, not alone, but this sort of thing is always present, is change it from coming together to our people coming together. So it's not just a broad sense of yeah, everything comes together and blah blah blah, but it becomes more specifically yeah, everyone who we already like and agree with all the time coming together and unifying, right? So I don't think it's like I wouldn't even think of it as a perversion in some ways. I mean, obviously it is a perversion in some sense, but it's more like what's in ascendancy at the moment to a certain extent. So yeah, and I think that Samhain would be aware of that.
Well, yeah. So like my point is that if I'm going to be playing to this audience, and knowing what I know about Blackice and his co-conspirators, I don't think I want to put on a set that backs what they're currently doing. Like I said, I think it's the way that Samhain understands it. It is a perversion of what he thinks Yemis stands for. With regards
certainly what
to
Tissa's told you
with
about
Tissa's input. So I think he would definitely try to hammer home the larger picture, and that it's not just one or two things that depend on the corals for existence. It's definitely a larger community, and that
it's the
needs
ecosystem.
to be, and that that needs to be driven home. So I think that's what his focus is going to be, and it'll be his way of being tongue-in-cheek while being in a party where everybody thinks a little bit differently about that.
Yeah, I think that like on some level, even better than how well we know the world, Samhain knows the world better than either of us. So like, if you tell me that Samhain wants to accomplish this effect with his music, then that's the effect that you're rolling to accomplish. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what I would like to do for his set this evening, is definitely steer clear from what Magli is saying and
focus on sort of the broader picture. Yeah. So then my question would be, do you want to steer clear of what Magli's saying in sort of a non-aggressive way, or do you want to like purposefully hammer home the things that are sort of against Magli's message? Like, are you trying to antagonize him? Sorry.
Well, he's the host of the party, right?
Yes.
Then I do not want it to be like a blatant thing, like me flying in the face of what he's telling the audience. But I think that maybe I can do it a bit more subtly through like Juno with her illusions, and maybe less me like speaking into its existence and letting people see.
So on some level, your goal is to subtly manipulate people away from his perversions.
Yes.
And you want to do it undetected.
Yeah, I don't want him to view me as an aggressor.
Perfect.
I definitely want him to think I have...
You're a musician.
Yeah, I have as much power as he thinks I have, which I'm hoping it's not a whole lot, considering he said no to me previously, so...
Sounds good to me. Okay, cool. So, Samhain and Juno arrive. The main square is filled with people. There's sort of a balcony that sort of leans out from this glittering palace. The palace, some of you have been here before. Juno definitely has been here before. Enon has been here before. But when it was in construction, it is gorgeous now. It is covered in silver. And it sort of glitters in the early moon and starlight as the stars sort of sit above. Behir is sort of slowly fading. The Behir constellation is slowly fading. We're getting late in that month, but yeah, it's stunningly gorgeous. Everything sort of shines and glitters, and you can see why people call Racy the city of silver. and it's definitely quite a beautiful, beautiful experience. You notice that the balcony that has been built here sort of goes out over, is an overhang over the crowd, and someone could easily stand up there and sort of speak and address the crowd. It would be a good place for formal hearings. It hasn't been used for that yet because, again, the building was literally finished probably tomorrow technically, but like 2 hours ago is when they like finished getting it cleaned up and ready for current practical use. So that's where you are. There's a front entrance, and a lot of the people are sort of standing around the front entrance and looking at the carriages as they approach. The first carriage that you see approach opens, and some noble looking person steps out, and on his arm is a much too young woman for him. And they sort of bow, and the crowd oohs and ahs, and there's some news person who like is doing a sketch of their clothing as fast as humanly possible. It's all very like meet the press, big, red carpet. People stand and chat, and they get asked questions about things. A famous actor shows up, and she is asked a question about her current role, and she sort of gives a non-answer because she's had to answer this question so many times that she's just tired. And then another carriage pulls up, and you see elegant and dressed to the nines, two people walk out, General Quick Eyes and Thomas Dagmar. And they step down onto our carpet, and someone with a magical recording spell comes up and says, General Quick Eyes, such an honor to have you here tonight. He replies, oh, well, I'm always glad to be part of festivals celebrating our religious and cultural history. It's an important aspect of our lives and world, and I hope that we can do well in remembering our traditions and where they come from. And who are you? They say to Thomas.
Shut up. Thomas Dagmar, charmed.
Yes, excellent. And they're like clearly wanting like gossip.
Yeah, how old is this kid?
Yeah. I mean, they're not a kid. They're in their early 20s. They're kids.
So they're effectively, yeah.
Yeah, they're a kid.
An unpaid intern.
Yeah, clearly. That's how you do this stuff. They're clearly hoping for some gossip, and General Quick Eyes just sort of looks at them and gives this like, I have served in military campaigns since the day you were born, child. And
Thomas is just like leaning on his arm, like being coy.
Yeah, and the kid just I see, and like turns and goes to talk to some celebrity who wants to talk, and you see a older lizard folk step out of a carriage, and she is not dressed sort of in current formal garb. She's actually wearing the formal garb of like ancient Chalestra. So sort of a beaded dress that sort of rattles with every step that she takes. And she has sort of all these necklaces with all these weird aspects of jewelry. And like you look at her and she's not wearing any cloth. Everything sort of rattles and shakes. She's got shards of silver that are like this huge silver necklace that almost looks like a bib. But it's made of like strips of silver that just keep on rattling and clanking as they bump into each other. And she's leaning heavily on this wooden walking staff, and she comes and she's asked questions. Thomas and the general are walking in, and the questioner says, "So, Councilwoman Stepwise, any truth or information about what do we know about this ritual that happened this morning, the blood and all that stuff?" And she looks at this person and says, "Well, it's important to be aware that we don't know anything yet. We still are trying to figure out what is happening and what could have caused such an event. It is too early to make any sort of determination about what has happened and what this means. And the guy looks at her and says, "But, well, there's all these rumors going around." She says, "I know that there are rumors going around, but it's important that we maintain vigilance in the wake of rumors and meet rumors with patience for the honest truth and facts." He says, "Well, there's words going around that someone from Sunera may have somehow poisoned one of our gods and killed them and left them for dead." And she says, "Well, we have no evidence that anything of that sort has happened, and certainly I think that scaremongering about Sunaran beliefs is a stretch in the wrong direction. We should be focusing on our citizens and our people and how to help stabilize the world in this unstable time." And she keeps on asking these questions as Thomas and General Quick Eyes make their way in. Juno and Salwyn, you are ushered to a side entrance. You're not allowed to enter with the wealthy people. You're the paid entertainment. And there's guards there, standing there, blocking your way. And one of them looks at you and says, "Hey, are you the musician?"
Indeed, I am.
I was told to expect you. Who's this? I sort of point at Juno.
So this is my assistant. She's going to be accompanying my music with illusions this evening. In honor of Yemis, of course.
That's not on the... And he sort of like looks at a paper thing and it's like folds through papers. I'm like, she looks at it.
Jonathan Skunkmaid assured me that I would be allowed to bring what I needed to put on a good show this evening.
Yeah, you're dropping Skunkmaid's name. Why don't you roll an intimidation check?
It was more of a persuasion check, but okay.
I mean, I think it's a little bit intimidation.
I wasn't trying to like intimidate him. I was just trying.
You got this. You got this.
You're name dropping. Name dropping is always a form of like.
Wait, do you have what's
measurement?
I have inspiration. I'd like to use inspiration on this roll, please, so I can get Juno in.
Nia, are you with us?
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's a 28.
That's a 28.
Is that nat 20?
No.
No.
It's 18 plus 10. Nice. Yeah. So the guard, she looks at you and she sticks out her lizard tongue just for a second and like bites it, just that. She sort of looks at Juno and
so,
do you have any weapons on you? And she just sort of looks at Juno and so when she says that. Do you have any weapons on you?
No, she wouldn't have any weapons on her. We're here.
She does like a quick examination, just sort of looking you up and down and just checking for anything. Does she see anything that might be a weapon?
No, I'll swirl around. I'll swirl my skirts.
Ooh, yes.
Nice. And she says, "Okay, I'm sure it's fine. Don't worry."
Do I look nice
though? And she like looks a little confused because no one has ever asked her that before. And she looks at you and she says, "Yeah, you look great."
Thank you. I think you look nice too. Did you shine up your armor?
Well, the guardhouse did. I just left it there. They told us all to shine up the armor, but they were to leave our armor there and get it shined.
Well, you look good in it anyways.
Thank you.
And
sort of laughs and she looks at you and she says, what's your name?"
"Oh, Juniper, hi." And I'm gonna hold out my hand. Or paw. Hold out my paw.
And she reaches down and shakes your paw and it's lizard claw reaching fox paw.
I'm used to that.
And she just looks at you and says, "Hi, I'm my name's Giselle."
Hi, Giselle. Oh, that's a pretty name.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I hope you get to see Solon at some point. I know you're out here guarding, which I know is important, but hopefully you get to hear some of his stuff. He's really good.
Yeah, well, I should be able to hear from the doorway at least. I can't leave my post for a little while. Honestly, I bid for this job because, like, if you're guarding the front, the rich people will just like tip you, But then I got the back, so.
Do I have any money on me?
Yeah, hang on. Someone goes, look, I didn't mean to be rude with you. I was just told I needed to be here to put on a good show. And so
no, it's fine.
Someone reaches into his pocket and how much can I pull out that it doesn't make me look like I'm Mr. Moneybags? But it is a nice enough compensation from like one person to another who is a working person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We've sort of established that like a gold piece feels like about $20.
Okay. So Solomon will reach in to. He wouldn't have brought all his money with him. He would have just brought enough to like grease palms if he needed to.
Yeah, of course.
He'll pull out 2 gold coins and he goes, I know that your associates at the front are probably going to make way more than this, but here's a gift from me to you.
He takes it and he's like, thank you. Sawin, is that the name?
Indeed.
Yeah. What's your full name so that I can like find you later if there's ever any shows or something?
Hang on. I'm thinking. Out of character. I'm thinking.
Maybe like just say where you can usually find him playing.
Yeah, that's fine too.
What's your SoundCloud?
Well,
SoundCloud link.
Yeah. So, I just prefer to go by my first name, but you could usually find me at the Busted Barnacle, or I recently did a show on the Commons.
I broke up a fight at the Busted Barnacle the other day.
I can assure you that I wasn't playing that evening because there's usually not any fighting going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just rough part of town, I guess. And she looks at you and she smiles. Whatever happens.
But thank you very much. It was a lovely chat, and hopefully when you are able to get a break, you can come inside and hear the music. It's much better inside than it is outside.
Yeah. Should be a cold night. She looks up.
Oh.
And you guys head on in.
Okay.
Kaz, you and Lady Iria get the same treatment as Thomas and General Quick Eyes, but you were not asked any questions. Lady Iria is fawned over. People keep on asking her questions. She's some sort of weird celebrity somehow, it turns out. But you, like, it's very clearly established that, you are a bodyguard. You are meant to be seen and not heard. And so unless you do anything, like, no one addresses you at all, unless you are going to actively try to get them to address you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Sounds perfect.
Yeah. Is Kaz happy with that? Does Kaz not want to be?
Absolutely. Does not want any attention.
Perfect. Yeah. I want you to roll a perception check for me.
Oh boy.
Just for the sake of it. How good are you at skinning the crowd?
11.
11. You're good to the degree of 11. So you make it to the front, and the guards are there, and they do a cursory, like, they don't look or at anything. They're sort of looking straight ahead, and like trying to look very impressive. They're wearing full, sort of formal guards uniforms, looking very resplendent and a little bit over the top. And Lady Iria is walking past. As you were walking in, a third guard who's behind them, there's one on either side of the door, and then a third guard who's behind, just sort of pulls out a notebook and makes a checklist and taps the guard twice on the shoulder. And the guard who is looking straight ahead just walks straight over to you and blocks your path. And Lady Iria pauses for a second. And the guard looks at you and says, "Name?"
Kazan. I'm Lady Iria's bodyguard.
And you're working with one of the official bodyguard organizations?
Yes.
He looks down his notes and says, are you new hire?
Quite new.
We don't have you on our records yet. Sorry about this. Give us just a minute. And Lady Iria comes and taps the guard on the shoulder and says, I assure you, Kazan is my bodyguard. And the guard looks at her. For a second, he looks like he's about to, like, challenge her, almost, like, get in her face a little bit. But then, like, she does something with her eyes. And, like, she doesn't move at all. And she's just smiling kind of banally. But she does something with her eyes. And you see him gulp, right? And he just sort of swallows intensely. And he says, yes, of course, Lady Iria. Of course. I'll get Kazan on the lists right away. And he just goes and walks back to his post and whispers to the third guard and then turns around and nods at you and goes back to his post, letting you in.
Okay. I whisper to Lady Iria, now that's a cool trick.
Yes, comes in handy sometimes, my reputation. And you enter, and inside is the most lush and lavish party you've ever seen in your entire life. It is gorgeous. It is a ballroom. There's a chandelier. There's multiple floors to the thing. There's food everywhere. There's groups of people talking. Someone is sort of standing around, has a bear on a leash. And, like, people go up and, like, pet the bear and, like, scratch the bear's ears and things like that. There's water fountains. There's all these creations of, like, sculptures made out of spun sugar that's, like, caramelized and, like, look like the creatures of the Zodiac. And they're all, like, they're not quite full size, but they're, like, human-sized versions of the creatures of the Zodiac. And, like, it's all over the place, but it's quite the, like, expensive and extravagant thing. You can't help but look at this and think, oh my god, this was a lot of money. It wouldn't surprise you if this was like a 500,000 GP party.
Oh boy. Nervous sweating.
This is
anyway, eat the rich.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what we're here to do.
That's what we're here to do. Yeah, and so Lady Iria just sort of calmly walks forward and finds a spot. It's not exactly in the center of the room, but it's a little bit off from the center of the room. But she just sort of stands there and looks at you and says, would I be safer here or against the wall? I think I'm going to, pardon me, but after my experience earlier today, I think I want to prioritize my safety rather than my visibility.
Sticking to the walls is usually safer.
And she goes and she continues walking, and she gets, like, across the room, not far from the stage. There's a staircase up to the stage and another staircase going the other direction up to the floor above. And there's, like, a little duvet couch that's there with cushions on it and sort of a plant next to it. And she just sort of sits down there and spreads out her skirts and waits for people to come to her. Thomas, you and General Quick Eyes enter and are brought in quite immediately. You are on the list, right? Because General Quick Eyes +1, and so there's no hesitation with you at the door. I'm gonna pause a second here and tell you guys that I have, like, a mini game.
Yeah, I heard there
right
were
now.
party rules.
There are party rules. What? And part of the fun of it is that you don't get to know all the rules.
No!
Damn.
But
the
I
worst
will
kind of
tell
party
you,
rules. This is middle
but-
school all over again. There's
but
rules and you don't know what they are, but you missed them.
Yeah. So basically the way I'm going to do it is that I've got a whole list of events that can happen, right? I've got random charts of events and I've got non-random charts of events. And you can trigger them just by going and talking to people. Every couple of scheduled events, there's a random event of some sort. And how you interact with things will curry you favor with different types of people, right? If you deal with a situation in a way that like makes the guards happy, if you respond socially in a situation that makes the guards happy, you curry favor with the guards. You'll get bonus points from my little guard route thing. If you curry favor with Primarch, Magli, Blackice, you'll get bonus points from the Primarch, Magli, Blackice thing. And depending on how you do things or how you handle situations that come up, you'll get various types of bonus points from various types of groups. Does that broadly make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On top of that, I'll tell you that I have here 12 nodes, for lack of a better word. Each one with like a cluster of characters that's that are talking to each other that you can potentially get involved with. Some of them you know, some of them you don't know, and some of them may come up to you, some of them may not come up to you. But we're gonna sort of dive around like that, and all that good stuff. Does that make a little bit of sense?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone feel like they have a relatively clear understanding of how this party is gonna go?
Yep.
Great. Then let's take a break.
Thank God. I'm dying.
Oh
Yeah.
man. All right.
Oh my lord.
So 10 minutes?
This will go well.
Yeah, let's do 10 minutes. 6:37 back.
All right, everybody. You gotta wait 10 minutes for us to come back and play our party games. However, will you survive?
Yay.
My jaw is clenched.
I'm so glad Thomas is better at this shit than I am.
Yes. Yeah, I'll add that, like, obviously, the way I'll rule anything is the way in which you solve a problem can give you points, but also succeeding on rolls will always give you points as well. But if you fail on a roll, but you're trying to do the right thing, you'll still impress the right person. Like, so if you're like trying, like if someone is, I don't know, this is a ridiculous example that I'm not going to use probably, but if someone is saying like, if someone is trashing the guards and the way the guards behave, and you stand up for the guards' rights, right? There's some sort of persuasion roll, and if you succeed, you'll appease the other people. If you fail, though, you still appease the guards, right? Just the fact that you were standing up for the guards is some way to appease the guards. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's flirting with the guards when you get in. Hell.
All right, we're live.
We're live?
Everything's
okay.
hot. Yep.
Excellent. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. We were just talking about politics because apparently that's what you do when you're on break. You're like dealing with all this political stuff. You're like, hey, we're on break. Let's deal with political stuff. But, you know, such is life. And it was fun. Hope you're enjoying the show. We're certainly enjoying playing it. I'm enjoying playing it a lot. And let's see what's going on here. If you are enjoying this, please follow and or subscribe to us. We have a lot of fun doing these things, and every time you do that, it makes it easier for us to do them. In addition to that, if you were enjoying this, we also have another game on Thursday mornings, this coming Thursday, and also next Monday, we will be having a substitute game master, and we will be playing some guest games. One of our groups is playing, I think, City of Mists. Is that right? I've forgotten. I think that's on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on next Monday, I think this group is going to be playing Vampire the Masquerade. I think, last I checked. Should be fun. You should come check them out, even though I'm not here, because I am in Boston hanging out with this one again. I think they're pretty cool, and I want to spend some time with them because they are so cool. And we're going to go to a gaming convention because that's what you do. Also, my brother lives in Boston, so I have a lot of reasons to go to Boston. Nonetheless, come watch the show even without me. It'll be fun. And please like, follow, subscribe, whatever. I don't know. Whatever it is that you're supposed to do on Twitch, do that. I appreciate it. Okay, back to our game. So, Thomas, I'm going to start with you. So you are there with General Quick Eyes. Are there people that you want to talk to, communities you want to engage with? Do you want to talk to religious folks? Do you want to talk to military folks? Do you want to talk to political folks? Do you want to talk to council members? Do you want to talk to business leaders of the community or celebrities? Like, what are you interested in talking to?
How long is this party?
It'll realistically speaking, it's you arrived, at the appropriate window. Probably you were told to arrive at a specific time so that we wouldn't have a bottleneck of carriages or whatever. You're going to be here for probably about 3.5 hours.
Okay. I was kind of hoping this would be a Pride and Prejudice style thing where you've got people like trickling out at dawn, but that's cool. I guess everyone can still get wasted in 3.5 hours. Just kidding.
Oh yeah. Well, there'll be
enjoy responsibly.
There's always drinks going around. Yes, there's drinks going around. There's appetizers, all sorts going around. Yeah.
So I guess he is looking for people he recognizes, maybe people who might be there with their families. That's obviously going to be a diminished group. And
not a lot of kids at this party. There's a couple, but but they're definitely few and far between.
What? But there's a cheese fountain right over there. The kids love that. No, just kidding.
I loved that when I was a kid. I loved fondue
right?
fountains. Sorry, keep going.
So he's probably going to be looking for people who would be familiar to him in any spectrum, while also trying to keep an eye on the corners of the room, servants going back and forth, guards going back and forth, because focus. So focus.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, you definitely know people here. It's more. You probably know people in every group here. So it's more, what group do you want to talk to? I sort of want a little bit more direction from you. Like, who are you trying to schmooze here?
Well, the vibe is probably pretty intense from the religious figures. So maybe he'll mention to General Quick Eyes about moseying over there and, just saying hey.
Yeah, absolutely. So you head over to, there's like a group of religious figures, and they're sort of having a hushed conversation.
Yeah, they are.
You recognize one of them is your little protege, who's annoying now. The new High Priest of Tamden. And one of them is named Leonin, and this is our High Priest of Dawa, the ship things. And then with them is Kalier, the High Priest Kalier. I'll spell that for you guys.
I was gonna say
Kalyr. High Priest Kalyr.
Hi, Priest Kalyr. No, he doesn't say that.
And yeah, I recently. And Kalyr, is the high priest of Gyatso, the religious figure of war. And Kalyr looks very, very calm, while there's like these priests sort of around him chittering and speaking, sort of like having this very intense discussion. And like the way that he is dressed, they're all wearing like religious robes, with sort of adornments from their own religion. But the way he is dressed is just much more put together than anyone else. He's just standing there, and like he's just standing there calmly, looking very intense. And like these two priests are like they're going at it a little bit. For priests that are supposed to be Tamda, it's supposed to be about acceptance, and the other one's like Dawa. It's ships and things like that. It's building things, and like they're getting like feeling very intense. And like as you're approaching, you think that they might be like almost coming to blows, even though like they never would do that, but it has that vibe. When Brother Kalyr just sort of puts a hand on each shoulder simultaneously, just one on each and one on the other, and he just starts saying something to them, and they both still look very tense, but he smiles at them, and they both sort of back down a little bit, and he looks up and he says, hello, how are you doing? And he smiles at you and at General Quick Eyes. General. And I'm sorry, I don't know. Are you still a priest? Thomas.
Do I know this guy's first name? Is Kalyr his first name?
Kalyr is his first name, yeah.
Okay. Well, you're clearly still working your goodwill, Kalyr. Mm-hmm. And he kind of like squeezes General Quick Eyes' arm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kalyr.
He's not above it.
Yeah, I love it. And yes, I see. Thomas, welcome to the party. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in quite some time. Not since well, I guess you were captured during a good chunk of the war that we fought. But I may have seen you since then, but not much. What are you doing? How do you keep yourself busy these days?
Oh, everyone has their hobbies. My work with Idumina did take me here and there. Unfortunately, I was not able to be there when she passed, to my benefit and my great sorrow. But we all have our little niches where we can keep ourselves useful, don't we?
Yes, of course. We all find purpose. Some of us find it in very practical ways, and others find it through something more broad and open-minded.
Oh, thank the gods we have this opportunity to bring the community together, because really, isn't that what it's all about? Coming together.
As Yemis wills it.
He kind of like messes with his pendant a little bit.
Yeah, and our kid, who's the high priest of Yemis, like immediately jumps in and like says, "Of course, yes, as Yemis wills it." Doing the.
Someone said Yemis.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm awake.
And yeah, and so it's very, and so he just looks at you and how are you, General? And General says, I'm well, High Priest. And I heard about a expedition, a military incursion, shall we hear, to investigate what happened with our stolen wagon. Yes, indeed. Any news on that front? No, I'm not really in charge of that investigation. Oh, so you know nothing? Again, I'm not in charge of that investigation.
My word, I didn't realize that the time had come, or the times had so changed that we would have sensitive diplomatic exchanges in the middle of a ballroom.
Oh, my dear, where else are we going to have sensitive diplomatic exchanges? You're never around.
Oh, well, I hear there's a charming tavern where we don't air our dirty laundry out in the open.
Tell me, speaking of dirty laundry, Thomas, how is that daughter of yours?
Away for a bit, I believe.
Doing well for herself?
As well as can be expected.
Yes, as well as can be expected. Yes, I know the feeling. I've often thought that her profession was distasteful in some ways. The dishonor of being a leech rather than true glorious battle and war, if you know what I mean.
Oh, well, I suppose you would know about it, wouldn't you? I mean, you fought your share of pirates in your day. Surely you came across some notable figures. I don't believe anyone I know has ever mentioned you in that regard, so I assumed you didn't know much about it.
That's because the ones that came across me are dead. I pray to Gyatso that she doesn't suffer the same fate. And he picks up a glass of wine and drinks it.
I don't think I worry quite so much about that. You know, our children have ways of surprising us, don't they? And I mean, what else is there at our age but the hope of surprise?
Yes. So at this point, a clumsy and nervous waiter almost bumps into you. I need you to make an acrobatics check to dodge.
Good. His dexterity is lit. Is that a save or just a check?
Acrobatics.
Oh, we just said that.
Yep. Yeah, nice. So you dodge out of the way, and wine is not poured all over you.
Is it
General
anyone
quick
else?
eyes. Is that your intention? Do you want it to?
Yeah, I mean, if he can kind of like angle,
Yeah,
maybe like
absolutely.
leverage his hold on the general's arm to kind of spin out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. I don't think you have enough control because it is not you
That's
doing
fine.
this, obviously. But let's. Okay, yeah. So it lands on our priest of Yemis, just covering his robes with sort of this purple wine stain, as it just spreads down his body.
Oh dear! Speaking of surprises.
Oh my God! This is so horrible.
It's a tiny reenactment of this morning, isn't it?
Yeah. And
he makes eye contact with like Kalir.
And Kalir says, "Oh no, and you had a speech to make too, didn't you?" Yes. Oh my God, how could I can't do that now with this appearance upon me. This is a travesty. This is atrocious. What am I going to do? And Brother Kalir says, "Oh, calm yourself, High Priest. Sorry, High Priest Kalir. Calm yourself, High Priest. I will speak for you."
That is what you're good at, isn't it, Kalia?
He looks at you and he says, "Yes." And he like starts escorting the High Priest of Yemis away. The general looks at you and just like, "Oh man, that was awkward."
Loosen the fuck up, you'll be fine.
Sorry, it's been years since I've had to loosen up. I tend to keep control of myself here.
It's all right. If that's the worst that happens to us tonight, we can count ourselves lucky.
That's certainly true. Excellent.
Make
Cat.
In the middle of the fucking... Okay.
Anyways, sorry, go on.
Yeah. Excellent. Kaz. Who do you think comes up to Lady Iria that is interesting to Kaz?
I guess anyone who is looking to talk to her about official anything juicy that might be of interest to her.
Yeah, absolutely. So, someone that you don't know approaches her. She is a lizard folk, but she's short for lizard folk. She's actually, lizard folk are typically, 5 to 6.5 feet tall. This one's actually like 3.5 feet tall. So it's very short for a lizard folk. It's a little short lizard. And wearing sort of a nice dress, but it's very clear that because of their size, they were forced to get a child's dress that was nice rather than like a gown. And they come up and they bow deeply, and Lady Iria nods, and the small lizard folk says, "Pardon me, Lady Iria, would you accompany me for just a second? I want to get your opinion on a work of art." Lady Iria nods and turns to you and nods, and stands up, gathering her skirts around her, and the small lizard folk just keeps sort of walking, and so a little bounce to their walk, and Lady Iria keeps pace. She's very careful not to walk too fast for this creature, but she does seem to know where she's going. And they head over to one of the walls of this place, and there's a work of art on the wall. It seems to be an abstract painting. Why don't you roll a check for me on this? Let's see what we got here. I'll allow an insight check if you want. I will allow let's see what else. I'll allow a perception check. I'll allow a history check if you want. Anything of the sort so that you know something about the painting.
Okay. History's a bit better for me.
Okay.
Oh, a natural 20. So 20.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. So you know immediately this painting is made by an elf. Their name is Wisla Valkian. And Wisla Valkian is an elf from a long, long time ago, and not local. This is not someone from the Shimmering Seas. This is someone from a place across the Shimmering Sea known as Rivenholm. And Wisla Valkian is famous for doing sort of abstract art that's very much about grief, but expresses it in a very weird way. Wisla Valkian was someone who, in their lifetime, achieved like a pseudo immortality. They lived to be almost 10,000 years old, theoretically. No one really knows how this happened, but they lived to be almost 10,000 years old. And during that time, a lot of their friends died, and this is sort of a painting about that sadness. This lizard folk sort of looks at the painting and looks at Lady Iria and says, "So this is the painting I wanted to show you. I think that it reveals quite a lot about certain people's personalities and their motivations." Lady Iria nods and says, "Yes, I think I can see what you mean. There's a lot of depth here. Kazan, what do you see in this painting?"
I see. Well, I don't know if it's more about what I see, but what it makes me feel. And I feel a sense of longing, of loss.
Yes, I think you're quite right. Does it remind you of anything that you've lost, Kaz?
I've lost many things. So I would say yes.
And she looks at it closely, and she looks at the small lizard folk. And are you certain that this is correct? That this is revealing of motivation? She says to lizard folk. And the lizard folk says, "Yes, quite right. We are very certain." And Lady Iria nods solemnly. And says the lizard folk. Well then, prepare the second plan, if you will, then. Are you sure, Lady Iria? Yes, I think that will do quite nicely. It seems appropriate. Thank you for all your hard work. And she smiles warmly, and the lizard folk bows. Lady Iria turns and starts walking back to the duvet that she was seated upon before.
Okay. She said the second plan?
Mm-hmm. You have a question? I see it upon your face. She says without looking at you.
Well, forgive me if I'm speaking out of line, but I can't help but wonder what you are meaning to do with such a painting.
I will answer you truthfully, Kazan. Nothing. I have no intention of any sort that involves that painting, or really any other. Truth be told, art and its representations so rarely have depth of meaning for me, you know?
Huh. Then, well, what did you mean by the second plan?
Sometimes, Kazan, gatherings like this are a good time to speak with people that you could not normally speak with, and when you do, it is usually best to speak in code.
I see. Is there someone I should be looking out for that you plan on speaking with?
There is a man, human, and wearing a 3-piece red suit. You will know him by the fact that his left hand is very brutally scarred. If you could find him and bring him to me, that would be lovely. I should be safe here for now.
I don't know if it's wise for me to leave your side.
I would find this quite helpful, Kaz.
Well, if you're sure you'll be okay, I could look for a bit.
Thank you. She smiles.
Okay. I guess I will go out and see, maybe spend a couple minutes, not much longer, to see if I can find this person.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, and as you do that, I'm going to cut over to Jess and, to Samhain and Juniper, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you guys are backstage, and you've been backstage for a little while. Musicians are chatting with you, Samhain, sort of getting a feel for your set so that they know how to support you, and all that good stuff. When it is time for you to do your thing. So why don't you tell me what effect your goal is here? What do you want? What do you want to have happen here?
So, I suppose since this is a party that's worshiping Yemis, I guess the first thing I'd want to do would be to tell the tale of Yemis. So I imagine that it's kind of, it's like a poem that just goes on about the myth first as like my opening, like the introduction, and then follow into a set of like violin pieces with accompaniment. But the first part would be like spoken word, I guess.
Beautiful.
And for that, if that's possible, I'd like to be a little bit off stage slightly, you know, not taking any of the actual, like, nobody can really necessarily see me on the stage. So like maybe to the side, almost in the crowd.
But your dress is so pretty.
I know it is very pretty, but you know, this also gives me the chance to potentially like, you know, move around afterwards if I want to. But like I'll be sitting on the edge, like I'll be sitting elegantly on the edge of the stage, and I'm going to cast an illusion cantrip, minor illusion cantrip of kind of like a shadow puppet sort of situation behind Salwyn, reenacting it. So not necessarily like moving around per se, but
no, you can have them move around. I'm totally fine with that.
No, I'm down. The old school style of black and white animation from back in like the 20s.
Oh yeah.
But that one, I think she was German animated artist. It basically like that, like shadow puppetry sort of stuff, almost looks stop motion like.
Yeah, I love it. I feel like I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember, and it's bothering me.
I can't remember her name, but I'll remember it later.
If we remember it, we'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, Disney took her idea.
That's totally fine. Is it? Oh, it's Lottie Roniger. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it. Sorry. Lottie Roniger. So Salwyn, you're telling the story of Yemis. You've got shadow puppets behind you. I think when you start the story, it's just you. And I think actually the lights dim for this because like this is like a main event. Skunkmaid has made a big deal about you. And so like the lights dim for you a little bit. And so like conversation sort of a hush falls over the room. And conversation ceases. And you start telling the story. And I think as you start telling the story, the shadow puppets sort of emerge behind you. And the musicians, your backup band, they don't start playing immediately, but as you keep going, they start adding sound effects in. So like rubbing their instrument to create the sound of wind and swirling, like rubbing their strings the weird way to like get some scratching sounds going on and things like that. What's the emotional effect that you want people to end on with the song, with the first piece, with the big sort of opening number, the story of Yemis, this religious tale that you're doing?
I guess what I want to leave them with is a sense of wonder, so I can keep their attention for the next set, which would be the piece that I'd want to do to drive home the sense of larger community for Yemis. So like I have their attention right at the next piece, and I don't want that. I don't want to save that piece for the end of the night. I want to do it after coming off of something big.
Great. So let's start with a performance roll at advantage for this piece. Obviously, the advantage is because of Juniper.
Also, as a minor thing, I've if I remember correctly, prestidigitation, you can just do something minor, like for an illusion. Right? What I want to do is I want to cover up the fact that I have filed down my horns, so it just looks like skin and just.
So you think you are? So you appear hornless?
Yes.
I love it. Okay. Yeah. Nia, can I ask you to roll for a performance check at advantage for me? For Salwyn?
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said Juniper. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mainly because he's filed down his horns and there's nothing there, and he didn't want to wear like horn caps, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. So that's a 20. So yeah. So everything is like going very, very well. You have the audience in the palm of your hand. Everyone is ready for whatever your next thing is. People are primed and excited. So what's the next thing? What's the next step?
Where am I at in the story?
Where would it be best for you to be in the story? Do you want to tell the story? In your own words, or no?
I don't have. Yeah, no. I wanted to do it in a poem, but I don't have that fully written yet, which is
that's fair. It's a lot to ask.
I am working on it, and it will be bequeathed to the campaign, but I cannot do it this evening.
That's totally fine. Don't worry about it. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So, where do you think it would be most important for you to be in the story? Where, I mean, you can be anywhere in the story for any role that you want. You're in control of the narrative at this point.
Okay. I'm trying to think if I want to be towards the end and then like pause and then just survey the room for a moment and then bring out my violin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nia, can you just go over the features I have really quickly for the College of Eloquence?
Yeah.
Really
you
quickly.
have soothing words,
Mhm.
universal speech.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the shoes you got for your
Those
college.
are two, yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's not what I thought either of those were. Just remembering off the top of my head. Yeah. So that's where I want to leave it. Is like I want to be like coming towards the end and then pausing and then looking at the room.
Do you want to spend a bardic inspiration to do universal speech? It'll in essence, the way I would interpret that is that your performance, you roll a bardic inspiration, and your performance is automatically a nat 20 for those people. Right? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Cool. Why don't you roll a bardic inspiration die?
So that is an upgraded die, so that should be a D8 because I'm now a level 5 bard.
Wonderful. Nia, can you roll a random D8 for me?
Yeah. That's a 5.
5. Nice. So your performance is going to really affect strongly, emotionally, 5 people of your choice within 60 feet of you.
Cool.
What 5 people do you want to affect most?
Is the gentleman who wants to take me to dinner in the audience?
Yes, 100%.
Him, if he's close
Okay.
enough.
Absolutely.
Is Mela stepwise?
Yes.
Do I know where
As
she
is
is?
Magli Blackice. Yes.
Ooh.
In fact, Mela Stepwise and Magli Blackice were having a conversation when you started performing, and they've ceased their conversation to listen to you perform. Lady Iria is near you as well. Well, yeah, I mean, lots of people are near you. If you want to just have like a hold over 5 random people.
Yeah, no, I want to be very intentional. Like, so these are people I'm making eye contact with.
Yeah.
So the counselor is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do Mela stepwise.
Mm-hmm.
And because of her proximity to Blackice, I'm going to also look at him.
Okay. Blackice. You get 2 more.
I get 2
more. That's 3 members of the council right now, officially. You're putting holds on 3 members of the council right now, just for clarity's sake.
Yeah.
College of Eloquence, baby.
Is there anybody else I know of off the top of my head who are important people?
Yeah, there's I mean, Thomas is there. You want to have a hold on Thomas? I'm just, yeah, let's see.
The general's there. You want to ensure?
You don't know. Yeah, I mean, you don't know who this is, but there is a third person who was involved in the conversation with Mela, Stepwise, and Blackice, and you could just say the third person in that conversation.
What do they look like?
Yeah, they are a dwarf, and they are wearing very formal garbs that seem to be from Abarak.
Out of curiosity, do I happen to when I'm looking into the audience, do I notice if Algernon or his companion are in attendance?
Ooh, excellent question.
Because they would be my last 2 if they are.
Roll a perception check.
Ooh. 18.
That's an 18. Algernon is there. Tall, dark-skinned, elven character with spiked black hair. You don't see his companion, but he is there, and he's smiling at you as you do this.
Oh.
And you notice, with an 18 perception check, you notice that he is exactly 61 feet away from you.
Motherfucker.
And if you take a step forward, he takes a step back.
Oh. Wait, does the floor look like it looks on the Roll20 map? Is this chess?
You know.
Yeah, so if he sees me looking at him, I'm just going to give him a slight nod. That's like imperceptible.
Mm-hmm.
Then I will. Damn, I got 2 left.
You got 1 left.
I have 1 left.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, you do have 2 left. Sorry, you didn't take the dwarf. Sorry. Lady Iria is there. There's a business leader who's there who's like a he negotiates with the council on like how to tax businesses and things like that. I don't know who he is yet. We haven't built him yet, but he's there.
Are any of Kaz's family there?
Kaler is there. Any of Kaz's family? None of Kaz's family are there right now. Let's see. The captain of the guard is there.
Would I know that? Is he wearing an armband with the captain of the guard?
No, he is not.
Would I know about the other priest? The priest of
war?
war?
You rolled an 18 on perception check. Oh my god, I forgot to do this. Okay, well,
what?
We'll do that in a minute. I'll do that in a minute.
Oh,
but
god.
no, I forgot. If you beat a 14 on a perception check for any reason, I was supposed to tell you something I haven't told you yet.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. You would know. Kaler, High Priest Kaler is famous. Like all the high priests are famous.
Okay.
There's 6 high priests. They're not the council members, but they're the religious leaders of the city. So
Mm-hmm.
His presence is a big thing.
All right. Then I've decided my last 2.
Okay.
I'll look at Lady Iria, and then I will look at the High Priest, Kaler.
Okay, beautiful. Okay. While you're looking around, sort of on the far side of the room, making like a beeline towards you, like moving as fast as like someone can respectfully move while not disturbing your performance at all. You see someone coming straight towards you.
Yeah, how aggressive is it on a scale of 1 to 10? Like 10, I need to cover my shit, or 1, I am not threatened at all.
It is very fast, but it is not aggressive at all, and you recognize the person instantly. You recognize their pink and black marbled skin.
Ooh.
It is your sibling Ostara with their single spiral horn. Smiling super broadly.
How is she dressed?
Very nice. Very nice. Very, very, very nice.
So for people who don't know, this is my older sister who has shown up here. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna pretend like I'm not taken off guard by this at all. I'm going to ignore her. I'm ignoring her right now. We
Fair
can
enough.
talk later.
Yeah, of course. She just wants to watch the performance, so she's getting close.
Yeah, so for interested parties who want to know how old my sister is, she's 10 years my senior.
So that makes her about 30.
She's 32.
32. Excellent. Yeah. So these are the 5 people that you were going to have holds over. We'll establish what those holds are at a later point. But basically, like, these people are so impressed by your performance that you have advantage on a couple of rolls relating to them or something, or you can ask for something and they'll just give it to you, if that makes sense. Yeah? Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your general, sorry, just to refresh my memory, your general effect you want to leave the audience? You had them at Wonder for the first half, and here you want to sort of do the community building thing.
Yes. So once the story is done, like I said, I kind of wanted to leave them with a sense of like awe and wonderment, and then I'm going to pull out my spooky, scary violin, and I'm going to do I guess play the piece that I would like to like I said, emphasize the community building and sort of steer clear from actually because my violin takes a song and makes it sad. Oh, do I want to do it? Do I want to be spicy?
I don't know.
Do it.
Be spicy?
Turmeric teeth.
Okay. So I know that my violin takes songs and makes them sad. So what I realized that I did not bring the right instrument for me to play the
Our
community
gathering
building.
happy song.
Yes. So what I'm going to do, it's going to be tongue in cheek. This is. I'm glad I looked at Blackice now because this is probably not going to play out in my favor. I'm going to sort of tongue-in-cheek play this piece about Magli's message about bringing our people together, and it's not going to have lyrics because lyrics can be misinterpreted and used in someone else's favor. However, the arrangement cannot be misconstrued. So
you're going to explicitly critique Magli Blackice's ideas of religion.
I don't want it to be as severe as it could be, but I do want to, as politely as I can, point out the flaw with my arrangement, while still being polite, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Can you roll for me a performance check?
Can I help?
How are you helping?
Sorry, I wanted to ask before he.
No, please. Yeah, please. Actually, no, do it. You're totally right. I meant to ask you.
What I want to do is, in this case, I'll have to expend a spell slot.
Okay.
To cast. Hold on, let me get my thing. But cast Silent Image. Where basically what it's going to be is it's going to start out with a single drop of blue light over Samhain as he's playing, and I want it to fall down directly at his feet. I want the light to come from the violin, and the light is going to drop down from the violin at his feet, and then I want it to spread to look like the light on the bottom of the ocean floor, or like the floor of a pool, if you've ever seen if you've ever been in a clear beach. And as he plays, I want the light to start to disappear one by one in patches to cause a discordance, and then by the end pop back up.
Beautiful. And what's the emotional effect that you're going here with your lighting?
I guess I'm softening the blow just a little bit by being this is the message. We want unity, but there's discord, but still hope.
Beautiful. Samhain, let's roll a performance check at advantage now with help from Juniper.
Thank you very much.
Oh no!
What?
They're both 18s. They're both 18.
Oh, I mean, that's still
That's
good.
pretty good. I'll take an 18. That's pretty good. Yeah. So it's a very good performance. And you finish, and there kind of should be a moment where like after something that intense, just a moment of silence or whatever, but it's instantly interrupted as Skunkmate starts applauding. Bravo! I brought him, all credit to me. I brought that guy. God. He's all mine. One of mine. One of my finds. Oh, I'm so happy that I get to patronize the arts. Oh, it's so wonderful.
He is patronizing the arts.
So at
Skunk
the
Maid
end
is
of
in
the
no way, shape, or form based on a real person that I know.
That's so funny. So once the piece is done, and once Skunk Maid has sort of broken what should have been silence, I'm going to put my violin away, lock it up, and then I'm going to hold my hand out to Juniper.
I'll stand up a little bit and curtsy.
No, like come out on stage. Like if you're standing off stage, he wants you to come on stage.
Oh, okay. Very anxiously step out on stage and like not sure whether I should take his hand, like lift my paw just a little bit, but hesitate.
He is going to take your hand and squeeze it, like gently but firmly, and then he's going to bow and then like sort of pull her hand so she will do a curtsy.
Okay, all right, she'll curtsy.
Yeah, Mela stepwise is in the front row, and she's looking at you, Juniper.
Yeah, I'm looking at her too.
She has one eyebrow raised, or one scaled eye thing furrowed.
I'm going to try to, as naturally as possible, look around the crowd so that I'm not looking directly at her the whole time.
No. So the council member who you have a date with tomorrow, Solin, comes up to the stage and offers his hand to sort of help you down to the floor.
Oh, it's like that. I don't want to leave my violin unattended. Yep, so I'm gonna give him a finger. Like, one moment, please. One moment, please, finger.
Not that finger.
Not this one. Yeah, so I'm gonna grab my violin and I'll whisper a few words to Juniper and say, I think it's okay for us to take a break now.
Okay. Yep. And I could just get it.
And then he goes, thank you. And he means it very, very sincerely. It was beautiful. And then he will get down off the stage with his violin in hand.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful, Samhain. Oh, such a pleasure to hear you perform. What a fantastic performance. I'm truly astounded. I more and more you are convincing me that I have made the right call, and I'm looking forward to talking to you further tomorrow. Do you know, pardon me, I just want to make sure that you know, do you know this is Counselor Mela Stepwise, and this is, of course, our wonderful Primarch, Magli Blackice. And Magli reaches out his hand to shake yours and says, we've met before, yes, Samhain? We had a minor disagreement. I apologize for that, of course. I don't remember what it was, but truly, a marvelous performance, dear boy. Quite special.
How long ago was our
9 months, 8 months?
Ooh. I'm going to let it lie for right now. Now is not the time nor the place. So I'm going to take the Primarch's hand and shake it like I mean business, I guess. Like a firm, sturdy handshake to let him know that I don't know. Like a firm, it's not going to be like a limp-handed handshake. It's going to be I'm here and I'm present handshake.
Yes, and so he shakes your hand solidly. And interesting interpretation of events. We'll see what that amounts to moving forward. But quite a marvelous musician. That sounds you were making were quite special. Mela stepwise steps in and she says, "What do you mean by that, Primarch? Are you implying something?" And he says, "Oh, merely that we must make decisions about what we say." She says, "We should say nothing. It's important that we say nothing. This rumors will die down. This is some trick, obviously, this blood spilling." And she says, "I don't know. If you think that's the thing to do, then perhaps you should do that, don't you think? Perhaps you should go tell the assembled masses. I've been told that there a little bit restless outside, you might go and make a speech to them. Tell them that it is nothing. Make sure that they all hear. Make sure that they all know that it is nothing.
This is all happening in front of me.
Oh yeah, right in front of you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to have my polite smile plastered on my face and look like I'm watching a tennis match. With my eyes darting from Mela to Blackice.
And Mela
Where's
looks
the
at him.
counselor?
Yeah, he has the exact same expression as you. Where's Juniper? Is she here?
Have I been swept along by this?
I think you probably have. If you're like okay with it, like it was probably like an awkward hop to join, an awkward hop to join for you off the stage because the counselor offered to hand to Sawa, not to you, and the stage is a little high. It's about your height.
Sawa would have helped Juniper off. He wouldn't have just let her fend for herself in her pretty dress. She's gonna rip it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, she's gonna be a little bit behind Sawin. Like this is deeply uncomfortable. Again, looking from one to the other, but I'm gonna insight check stepwise.
Yeah.
If I can.
Please. Roll an insight check for stepwise.
Was Blackice being
okay
disingenuous when he says that's an interesting interpretation of events, or was he?
I think he was merely saying that your performance was good, but he knows that you were disagreeing with him on some level, right? That you were disagreeing with his take on things, but it wasn't like you weren't abrasive enough to offend him, basically.
Okay.
Like his perspective is, oh, I get it. You're just old-fashioned. You don't know how the new way we interpret religion goes, you know?
Oh, he's telling me I'm old-fashioned?
Yeah, basically.
Nice. Hey, boomer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with that, Faye. So what do you want to know about Mela Stepwise's attitude? What's on her mind right now? What are you asking? What's your question?
I want to. Well, obviously she seems deeply upset, but before she had said that she wanted to watch her words around him, and she's very clearly not watching her words around him at this point. I want to know, like, is she scared? Like, what is she really feeling right now other than irritation? Because irritation, I know.
Yeah.
Very familiar.
She's definitely feeling irritation, and she's definitely feeling, what's the word? She's definitely talking a lot more than you normally expect her to talk. And you know she's a politician, so you know she can talk, but she's being very, like, kind of cavalier with things. It's definitely out of character for her. And you're, like, a little, like, I think it almost makes you a little uncomfortable. Yeah, do you want to use that information to act on anything? Like, you're uncomfortable with what she's saying and how she's saying it.
Gosh. I don't know. It's hard for me because I'm not part of this conversation necessarily. I'm like a hanger-on, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not in a position to do much about this theoretically, but you are a PC, so you have agency.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh.
But does she?
You can also just wait and see how it plays out, see what happens.
I'm gonna wait and see for right now, and then I may act later.
Okay, yeah. So Magli says, "Oh, come on, Mela. You're always speaking about how the best thing that we can do is be open and honest about all things, tell the citizens everything that we want them to know. This is your primary argument with me when we're having council meetings, and here I am, agreeing with you. Certainly, what we know is nothing. You can tell them that. Believe me." And she sort of looks at him and says, "Well, yes, you know, I don't know your game, Magli." She looks at you and says, "What, Juniper? Speak."
Okay. Sorry, hold on.
I feel like I'm in labor.
Oh shit. Okay. Juno is going to smile very brightly. A little too brightly. You know that smile. We've all been there. We've all had those family
service.
We've all been grinned at by a fox.
We've always had those holiday dinners where somebody has screwed up, and now we have to play nice. And I'm going to smile very brightly and go, well, this is a celebration, right? I mean, pardon me for interrupting, but I think that tonight should just be about celebrating. We shouldn't bring politics into it. Not
roll a persuasion check. Yeah, roll a persuasion check.
I gotta do my inspiration on this one.
Excellent, good call.
Okay. Persuasion. Please, Juno.
What happened?
Natural 20.
Nice.
21. And Mela sort of looks at you and nods and says, yes, perhaps you're right. Maybe a statement should be made tomorrow. And Magli looks at her and says, are you sure? I see the assembled crowd outside, and well, the guards have been telling me, giving me updates all night that people are restless. Perhaps some words would be good. And Mela says, no, I think you're right. I think perhaps tomorrow we can let them know. We don't want to rush this. And I think the camera. Oh, sorry. Yes, please.
Oh no. I was just gonna be like, and what better to help people, set their mind at ease than a party.
So I'm gonna stop that for a second, cut that conversation, and go check in on Kaz. Kaz, you're looking for this person, and you see them. They are kind of standing in the corner of the room, and they're having a conversation with someone. This red three-piece suited person. But they're very clearly not interested in their conversation. They keep on fidgeting and looking around nervously and all that stuff, and they feel very uncomfortable.
Okay. Well, what I was gonna do is I wasn't sure I was gonna actually spot the person because I think Kaz needs glasses, probably.
That seems fair. It's a bright red three-piece suit. It's pretty glaring. It does not fit in. It's definitely not good fashion, by the way. This is like you're sort of looking for someone, assuming like this muted red color would be nice. No, this is stop sign red. And it definitely does not fit with like the sea colored themes. A lot of coral colors, a lot of watercolors here. And this person's wearing like just flat out red. And it's a cheap suit, so it really stands out. It's pretty bad.
Okay. I'm gonna say Kaz does this thing anyways, because I think she would. So when she leaves the room, she's gonna cast light on her headdress.
Oh, beautiful!
Just to kind of make it look like a halo, hoping to catch people's attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do. People definitely look at you. This is the first time that people are looking at you, and they're sort of reacting to you for the first time, sort of in your life, because you sort of avoided this, but they're kind of reacting to you like you are from the Kabah for the first time.
Absolutely hate it, but it was an effort to hope to be noticed by the right person, which
you were.
Yes. So when she spots this person, she will approach.
Hello?
Lady Iria requests your presence if you wouldn't mind coming with me.
What? She's working with you?
I'm working for her.
But no, that doesn't make sense. Damnation. Okay. Yeah, hold on. And he turns and he just like finds a waiter and just like grabs a drink and downs it, and then puts it down, and then grabs another drink and downs another drink.
I put a hand on his back and
oh my god, don't touch me.
Back.
Okay, sure. Yeah, coming with ya. And he just looks very nervous, and he's like trying to put on this like, I'm fine, I'm fine. As he just sort of walks, and like people sort of are noticing you because you've got this halo, and they sort of are ignoring him because he just looks like he kind of has that expression of someone who like has wet themselves in public and is trying to like pretend that everything is normal.
Okay. Well, I retract my hand, seeing his discomfort, but I'm gonna walk very quickly, slightly behind him, hoping so that he gets the picture.
Yeah. And he definitely does. He's scared of you right now. And you guide him towards Lady Iria. And Lady Iria looks at you and says, Kazan, you have returned. She smiles broadly. She doesn't talk to him at all. She just looks at you.
Is this who you asked for?
Yes, you have performed admirably. I really appreciate your assistance, Kazan. You are becoming quite the asset. We may have to talk about extending our relationship.
I just bow respectfully and take my place behind her.
I will give you glowing reviews to your brother. Tell me, how is the champagne here? Do you like it?
Is she addressing me or the person?
She is ignoring this person. And he's just sort of standing there fidgeting awkwardly.
I don't usually drink on the job, so I haven't had any.
Fair enough. Did you enjoy the music at least? I thought the set by that tiefling was quite bracing.
Did I catch any of the music?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard his music before. I'm quite a fan.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, the instrument that he played really caught my eye. I was very intrigued by, and as she says that the nervous guy, Lady Iria, and she says, "Quiet! I'm having a conversation with a friend." She turns back to you and says, "Yes, I thought that instrument was particularly unusual. Do you happen to know anything about it? I was very interested in its make. It's the sounds it got were unusual. I've never heard anything quite like it."
Oh, I've never been much of a person of the arts. I don't think I would have any useful information.
Fair enough. And she turns to the three-piece suit guy and says, "Hello." And he swallows deeply. Hi? Well, she says after like 3 or 4 seconds pause. And he swallows again, and then like his shaking hand reaches into his coat pocket and he pulls out a small wooden box, and his hand is just shaking, quivering. And he just sort of leans over and passes it and like wants to hand it to her, but she won't reach to take it, and he doesn't want to get close to her. And he sort of looks pleadingly at you.
Okay, yeah, I take the box from him.
And he like retracts his hand quickly.
Do I notice anything about it?
It is made of soulwood.
It's made of soulwood. Lady Iria, would you like me to open it before handing it over to you to make sure?
No, I'm quite all right, dear. Thank you, though. And she holds out a hand for it.
Oh, son of a bitch.
If you want to push this, you could push it and try and persuade her. But you'd have to what you said is just like, no, I'm fine. But if you want to say, oh, but there might be like a risk there might be risk to your life. I feel like I should open this. Like, you could roll a persuasion check if you wanted.
Forgive me, but due to events, I feel like it would be best if I check first.
Referencing the assassination attempt earlier today. Yeah, sure. Roll a persuasion check.
Okay,
I'm gonna. Great, do it.
19.
Yeah. So she looks at you and says, "Very well, go ahead." She smiles.
Okay, I open the box.
Inside the box, it's too big to be an earring, too small to be an orb, but it's a small, round, black ball. It looks almost like it's made of glass. There's sort of these wisps of smoke within it. It appears to be, and you look at it for a second. Can you make a wisdom saving throw for me?
Oh no.
Not advantage, so 8.
Yeah. And you find yourself just sort of staring into it a little bit too much and sort of losing yourself in it. And just for a second, it doesn't last very long, you hear the sound of someone screaming in agony.
Oh my Jesus.
And then it disappears.
Okay. I will take a thorough look at it. Does Soulwood... Would Soulwood also prevent me from, in the future, casting locate object to find it?
Yes.
God damn it. Okay. Well, I'm going to close the box and hand it to her.
And she looks at the three-piece suit guy and says, "Thank you. Go." And he just turns and like books it, right? Doesn't even, like, he's not even trying to be polite. He's just walking as fast as humanly possible. And she looks at you and says, "I figured he'd be resistant. Thank you for bringing him."
What is this?
Insurance. And she sticks it inside the folds of her dress. And you lose track of it.
Damn. Did we set up, out of character, did we set up a time or like a way to contact each other?
No, but we'll get there in a second.
Okay.
Thomas, can we check in on you? How are you and the general doing?
You're on mute.
Sorry, we're muted. I was trying to say we did set up the earlobe touch thing because there was a bit of back and forth about that.
Yes, the earlobe touch thing. I forgot.
Yes. Well, I'm honest. Sorry, hon. I'm honestly wondering if I would have been able to see this just happening, because what I had planned to do was to suggest the general we find some military folks so that he could take over the conversation and Thomas could be watching the floor.
Absolutely. Yeah. So he understands what this is and just immediately like agrees to this. And he goes and finds some military folks to sort of chat with. He immediately relaxes among them in a way that he doesn't relax among all the political stuff.
Oh, that's cute.
But like he's still, you know, he's a general, they're generals. There's some other ranks there too, but like there's a lot of like
doctor.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of casual like camaraderie there. You know, he shows up and someone like pummels his shoulder a little bit. You know, another one of the other she's a lizard folk general. She just pummels his shoulder a little bit, and like there's like a lot of camaraderie and casualness. And you're sort of given this opportunity to watch the floor. Thomas, you know what you're looking for, so why don't you roll a perception check for me at advantage?
Yes. I know.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. You said perception check at advantage.
24. Nice. Nicely done. Yeah, so you're looking around and you see a skinny elf. Very skinny, like almost too skinny. Male, holding a black briefcase. They're dark skinned, holding a black briefcase. And just sort of like looking around casually. And then they put it sort of just on the ground underneath the the table where they're drinking.
Okay. Where is this table on the floor?
Yeah. It's sort of near the. It's sort of near like a side exit. It's sort of like around here-ish.
Sorry, let me go to the Roll20 map.
Oh yeah, no worries. I'm just pinging. It's like around here.
Oh God, sorry, character
No worries.
sheet. Okay, one more time for the kids in the back.
I'm pinging. Don't worry.
Okay,
I'll keep
cool.
Yeah, so there's sort of like a side exit, and there's like a bunch of like, they're like high tables. They're not like seated at tables. They're like tall tables that you stand at and things like that. And he's just sort of put his briefcase there and is drinking a drink sort of casually. Doesn't seem to be any sort of rush.
How far from us?
How far you can get close if you want. You can get as close as you want. Until you want to like touch him or something like that.
How close to food?
Very. The food is floating around, so there's a lot of food around.
Wait, what?
Sorry, the food is being carried by waiters around.
I was going to say, that would be a very cute use of unseen servant.
That would be a very cute use of a lot of unseen servants. I love it. That's great. Yeah, I'll bear that in mind next time I'm playing a wizard. Yeah. Who's starting
Okay.
party?
Okay.
So
Speaking
what's your
of unseen
intention?
servant, that's a spell I should have held on to for just such an occasion, but I ditched it because I didn't use it. Okay. About what time is it right now?
Probably about an hour and a half into the thing.
Okay.
So we'll say like 7:30.
And we were warned by Juniper that there was also going to be a subsequent drop-off by or for Mela Stepwise. What was that about? One more time?
Mela's dropping something off for Juniper.
Yeah,
okay.
But I didn't say that. I said if you saw another drop-off towards for Juniper, that was just her.
Okay, but we have no idea what that would look like. Okay. He's going to take a drink and use the moment to ask Mercury, "Are you near?"
Yeah, boss. What's up? I'm just outside.
Okay.
You should see it out here, boss. It's getting a little crazy.
Crazy how?
The ritual this morning. People are upset about it.
Noted. No one here seems to be outwardly voicing their concerns, or if they are, it's just an understood tension. I have a visual on what it is we're supposed to intercept.
Anything I can do to help?
I'm thinking, stay close. If you can find your way inside without being seen, that would be optimal. Or just be near a window.
I can do that, boss. Hey, convenient. And he looks, and you hear him say, "This window's open. Look up at me. Can you see me? Can you see me, boss? Can you see me, boss?"
He yawns and looks upward.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like silver-coated gargoyles on the interior of this, sort of around the corner of the room. And if you look carefully, there's like a pattern to them. They're at regular intervals, but there's one point where the pattern is broken, and it takes a second to realize that it's because the pattern is broken because of Mercury. You definitely wouldn't notice if you weren't like looking for it.
That is fantastic. Are those gargoyles hooked to their position, or would it be possible to dislodge one? Don't actually do it, just check it out.
He like pulls back his head and looks around and take a little bit of strength, but it might happen.
I don't suppose we could talk it into jumping off the ledge itself. That's more in our wheelhouse. All right. Give me a moment. Honestly, not sure what route to take at this point. Do I see Samhain and Juniper on the floor? Like, where does it look like they are if they're on break?
Yeah, so Samhain and Juniper are right by the stage. They're like sort of over here. And Lady Iria is right here with Kaz right here. Lady Iria,
sorry,
Kaz.
it's an interesting screen. I'm trying to move it.
No worries.
There she is.
Lady Iria, Kaz,
Mhm.
and then Samhain and Juniper are right here, sort of in a circle. So
That
they're
is
sort
way
of
too close for
pretty close to
comfort.
each other.
Thomas kind of pats General Cook Eyes on the arm and he says, "I'm going to go pay my compliments to the musicians. Be right back."
He smiles at you and like holds your hand a little bit longer, so that you're like dragging your arm just as you're going.
Nice. Thomas shoots a quick look back at the crowd and looks back at the general and then goes.
Oh no.
Nice.
There's
excellent.
a little sway in his step.
Oh yeah, always should be. Let me see. So, Samhain,
Yes.
you're there and you're watching this whole thing and you're trying to pretend that nothing's happening, and you feel a tap on your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And someone says immediately to you, "What the heck are you doing here, Samhain?" In Siblangi.
So Samhain is going to politely excuse himself from the current goings on, and he's going to step away, and he goes, I'll be back with you all in a moment, and then he's going to politely but firmly take his sister, like link arms with her, and walk off. So
Absolutely.
they can have a little bit more of a private conversation, even
Absolutely,
if it is in their own made-up
of
child
course.
language.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So you walk off with Astara. Astara, is that how we're pronouncing that? Am I doing that right? Great, Astara.
Yes.
Great. And she's like, "Ooh, what is this, Samhain? You seem so forceful and directive."
Well, you were the so again, is she still speaking in Siblangi, or she has switched to
Nope.
Then I'm going to continue. You were the last person I expected to see here. I thought you would be at home.
Oh, did you?
What? You don't typically leave home.
Oh, I was curious. You've always been so obsessed with this, I don't know, what do you call it? Adventure thing, and I've never really understood it. But I figured, travel might do a girl some good.
Uh-huh. What's going on at home?
I have no idea what you mean.
Is she lying to me?
Yeah, roll an insight check.
Is this bitch lying to me?
Absolutely. Sorry, I need to find my darn. Yeah, Nia, can you roll an insight check for Solon?
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
Is my older sister lying to me?
That's a 14.
Yes, she's lying to you.
So then I go, is something wrong with Mother?
Solon, no, nothing's wrong with the family. Everyone's healthy, everyone's happy, everyone's fine. I promise you that's the case. No, and she sort of sighs dramatically for a second, and then, so, you remember, a while ago, when I did that thing that we don't talk about as a family ever? You know that thing?
Oh, hang on, I have to look at my notes.
That could be any number of things in my family.
The thing that we're not supposed to talk about, but that
the book
was no, when I was like outsmarted those local thieves and took all their money and then gave it to the rightful owners.
I mean,
it was very brilliant. I have to admit, I was on fire when I did this. It was a good one.
Is this really the time? Were you followed here by?
No. It doesn't matter. But
why are you bringing it up then if it doesn't matter?
Well, sorry, no, it's not. It doesn't affect you at all. But one of those one of those thieves that I stole from? Well,
Well, it's not stealing if you're returning the money to the rightful owners, but
that's what I said too, right? That makes so much more sense to me. But well, they got out of jail, and now they're trying to like launch a thieves guild, and so Mother told me that like it would be safer for me if I was like gone for a little bit, because apparently they've like well, I mean, nothing to worry about, someone. Okay, nothing. No,
obviously
I'm
it's
fine,
something
of course,
to worry
but
about if you're here and Mother sent you away.
well, I mean, they just like there's been a couple of bodies, a couple people have been assassinated who have like wronged people. There's like a whole like war going on there or something like that. I don't know, not a big deal. Don't worry about it. But just Mother decided that it would be a good idea if I took a break and came somewhere else, and I thought, well, Samhain's here. Maybe I'll go visit Samhain. And so I came to Racy to see you.
Okay.
Hi.
Yeah. Okay. How? All right. So it's one thing to come visit me, which you've never done. And we're
also
going to
technically not doing now. But
what?
Sorry, keep going. Also, technically, it's not like she came and went to see you.
Yeah,
you bumped into her at a party.
So like Sawa just like looks like deadpan. It's like not like you've ever come visited me before, like deadpan. But another
First
matter
time for everything.
Only because it benefits you. You've never come on your own volition to visit before. You're only coming because it behooves you to visit now. And we're going to put a pin in that. What we're also going to address is, this is a private party. How did you get an invite?
Right. Well, speaking of that, do me a favor, right? Just play along for a second. And then she swaps to 20 and says, oh, it's so good to see you, brother mine. I'm so pleased that you're here, and it's so good to see you. And oh, let me introduce you to someone. And you see that there's this tall tiefling sort of walking towards you, and this tiefling is a very similar coloration to you, not marbled quite as much as you are, but definitely like a similar reddish color, and coming towards, but with big curled horns that just sort of curl into themselves a little bit, and with this long, sort of very formal and proper, thick tail, wearing like a very formal suit, and says, "Ostara, I lost track of you. You took off so quickly." And she says, "Oh, pardon me, my lord. I just wanted to. I just saw someone that I knew. The musician, the performer, that was so captivating. I'm sure you were blown away by the performance, weren't you?" Yes. I generally prefer the dramatic arts, but I will admit that the music was passable. And the storytelling was, well, I like it when there's more characters. And she says, right. Well, this is my brother, Samhain. Samhain. This is my boyfriend, Lord Gwynoc.
Do I know this man?
Uh,
Do I recognize him?
Yeah, roll a history check.
Mia, if you would be so kind.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
6.
Nope. No clue. Also, it was a very high DC, just so you know.
Okay,
It would have been hard for you to get.
Okay, I was gonna say that's abysmal, Samhain.
Or is it
your
abyssal?
business is knowing people. So he's because he hasn't had a whole lot of time to shift train of thought. He's going to just look at the man for a moment, and he goes, "I'm sorry, I've forgotten my manners," and he will bow to it's not going to be like a very deep one. It's just going to be one formally acknowledging his presence.
Yeah, he nods back to you. He doesn't bow, but he nods as if that was an appropriate action. And he says, yes, the musician. Well, I apologize if my words offended you, but it was just an honest reaction. Not that you didn't do a great job. I'm sure it was spectacular in your field. It's just not my field of choice, if you know what I mean.
We all have our burdens to bear.
Quite. And you're Lady Ostara's sister, brother, sibling, whatever.
Yes. Yes, she is my older sister.
Yes. Well, quite an esteemed lady she is. Ah, such a woman of class and high quality. I am very lucky to be romantically involved with her and your esteemed and well-respected family. I am blown away that there are so many of you royal children left alive.
Oh. Wait.
And
what?
She says in Sablangi under her breath, "Just go with it."
She's the sugar mama.
Oh, fuck me sideways. That's out of character.
No worries.
Yes, it was, hang on, is this going to be the right phrase to use? I just have to look up a definition really quickly. Don't mind me.
Sure.
Hang on. It was divine providence. And he's just gonna smile.
Yes, the one true God does clearly smile upon us all. I am so glad to meet you all, and yeah.
Can I do an insight check on him saying be like the way he phrased being in a romantic relationship with Ostara?
Yeah, roll an insight check.
Yes, please.
He's Mr. Collins.
Yeah.
Oh my god. He is Prince Humperdinck. This is how I view him. This is my image of him.
I'm totally okay with that. Yes.
Hopefully with much less cruelty, but
we'll find out. So you get a 9. So he's so pompous that it's hard to read him.
Jeez.
Like he's so pompous that it's hard to read him. You know.
Okay.
And so you continue this conversation with him. I'm gonna cut from here for a second because we're coming up on the end of the episode. And I sort of want to check in on a couple different things simultaneously. So Samhain is having a conversation with his oldest sister and with her romantic interest, potentially Lord Gwynok. Kaz is with Lady Iria, dealing with suitors as they approach. Thomas has abandoned the general to the military things.
That's a little harsh.
Sorry, abandoned is the wrong word. Has left him with his military friends to go deal with this thing. Mela stepwise places a drink on the table next to her and is being a little bit too loose with her words in front of Juniper. And Juniper, in front of Magli, Blackice, and this counselor.
No.
She looks at you
No.
and says,
"Can I interrupt her before she finishes?"
"What do you want to do?"
I want to lurch forward and go, Counselor Stepwise, I absolutely must monopolize you just to ask what you were thinking about the illusions, but unfortunately, is it okay if we step a little bit of the ways away, because I know you can be a little bit I just
Oh yes, of
I
course.
hope you don't mind. I don't want to be embarrassed.
And Blackice says, "Please, of course. The illusions were fantastic, but truth be told, I don't have a head for the magical nonsense, if you know what I mean."
Yeah, and honestly, I'm still kind of new to it. Thank you, sir. So I'm going to take her.
He turns away and walks away.
Okay, I'm gonna take her. I'm gonna try to take her hand, and be like, can we speak privately somewhere, please, Mela?
She snaps her fingers, and a little rope appears in front of you, and she starts climbing up it. And then disappears into a pocket dimension that she just opened up in the middle of a party.
Jesus Christ. Fantasy Jesus. Well, it seems like I must have done much poorly than I thought, and I'm gonna just go and join her.
Oh my god!
So Thomas is headed to get help from Sawin and Juniper. Sawin is busy with his family, and Juniper enters a pocket dimension.
I was just thinking, have none of you idiots ever been to a party before?
There is a guy who has a pet bear, and
yeah, he's not the only one. Get in line.
A guard slams. A guard pounds on the door. The door is pushed open, and then it's like he comes in and starts quickly closing the door behind him, and he starts yelling, "There's gonna be a riot any second!" And he's shouting it as loud as he can. Apparently, Blackice was lying. There's more going on here than meets the eye. People are definitely riled up, and the guards are shouting about it. And the bear gets loose and starts charging through the crowd, causing a mess. And that is where we're going to end today's episode.
Damn it!
I'm sorry, she was about to fuck everything up. I had to do something.
No, it's not. Damn it to you.
No,
it's,
just in general.
This is how
in general.
this ends.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
I love it.
This is why we can't go anywhere nice.
You're telling me.
I just wanted to look pretty in a dress, and now my mentor is saying fucked up shit, and I had to go into a pocket dimension where no one can see my pretty dress.
Yep.
Hey,
or her murder of you.
So let's do some things.
Oh God.
Did you learn anything about Magli, his conspirators, or his servants?
Oh.
Yep.
Yes, everyone take that experience point. Do you feel like you expressed your character's class, species, or background in a meaningful or impactful way?
Yeah.
I agree. I think everyone gets that point today. I want to give everyone all the points today, basically. Did you overcome a meaningful obstacle or impediment to your character? This can be personal growth, knowledge, or defeating something big. Raise your hand.
Finally, yes.
Yes, what did you do? Tell me about it.
I didn't cover up my shackle-based scars.
Yep, I love it. I thought that
super
was great.
vulnerable in a room full of judgy Gen Zers. So
Yep, that's true. Excellent. Other people feel like they earned that point?
A little bit, yeah. I think I'm taking charge of Bella instead of her taking charge of me now.
Yeah, I think that's a huge change in your relationship suddenly. I totally agree.
This is terrifying.
Yeah. Sawin, what about you?
I think you can tell me whether or not it counts. I think him establishing dominance is the wrong word. However, he has made it very, I feel like he's made it clear to Juniper that actions do not come without consequences.
Strongly agree.
So
100%. Yeah.
That's the more diplomatic way of putting it. I didn't.
Bam! Take that, Juniper.
Sorry, Juniper. I love you for real.
It's okay. Same feelings.
Kaz, what about you? You overcome an obstacle today?
I did some SMR voguing.
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
Yeah, I agree. That was huge.
Too.
That was huge. You embraced your kava-ness. That was huge. And weird. We'll see what that amounts to things. And if you accomplished your belief today, let me know. Sarah, do you feel like you accomplished your belief today?
I feel like you focused up pretty well.
I agree. Yeah, you were very diligent in going towards your goal. You were not letting yourself be distracted. I strongly agree.
I could have stayed and heard charming officers tell stories about this nerd lord's youth, but
oh man, they would have loved to just regale each other with military stories and like, do you remember that time when you like barehanded fought a Bahir? You know, that sort of thing.
Well, they're about to handedly fight a bear, so
yes. Faye.
I don't know.
What was? Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily duplicitous, but I was trying to like protect them as I could without screwing everything up. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were right. I think that there was an added complication that you were not aware of, and technically are still not aware of. But yes, I think I think you did. I might be being a little light, but I think you did. I feel like I want to give credit for working towards beliefs a little bit in addition to accomplishing them right now. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that long term, but that's sort of what I want to do now, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I'm going to be just a little bit easier today in general. We'll see where I land on that, obviously, but for now, that's good. And Sawin, what about you?
Not really, because Mela has not exactly been put in danger, so
depends on what you mean. She's been put in a lot of social danger.
Yeah, but I haven't really done anything at this point about it. Because Sawin's interpretation was if she's in physical danger, he's going to step in, but
Well, we'll find out.
Oh, did we do inspo?
Not yet.
Okay.
But we will in a second.
Sorry.
Kaz, what about you? Did you accomplish your belief? Did we already do that one?
Well, I definitely worked towards it.
Then we're going to call that an experience point for now. Working towards your belief is going to be an experience point for now as well.
Okay.
And then let's do you know a character better? And therefore earn a advantage or inspiration. Let's see what we got here. Thomas, did you get to know any other characters better?
No, because we were pretty isolated from most of the party, and apparently I smell or something because like everybody's scurrying off the second I approach.
Yeah.
Look, I'm in a crisis.
But I also have been hoarding my inspiration like gold for about 3 or 4 episodes now, which it is. Yeah. So I'm good. I also have those 2 out of 3 pieces of advantage left for social situations based on poaching from my bud. So
Kaz, you're up. Do you feel like you get to know anyone better?
Nope, didn't actually interact with anyone else.
Excellent. And Faye, what about you? Do you feel like you got to know anyone better?
I don't know. Maybe Sawin a little bit.
I mean, yeah, I think that certainly developed your relationship with Sawin, whether it's for good or for ill is a different question.
I feel like I got to know him better, but I think I didn't in a way. Like
you think you misinterpret. Like Faye thinks that Juniper misinterpreted it.
Yes, and I genuinely think she misinterpreted it, but Juniper genuinely thinks that she now knows Sawin better.
That to me is that inspiration point. If Juniper thinks she knows Sawin better, then I'll give you that inspiration point. That's how I would say it.
Okay.
What about Sawin? Actually, I stole this mechanic just for the record from Apocalypse World, and they have a thing. It's not exactly inspiration. They have a different thing. They get a bonus to your hex with someone, which is your history of them, which is really cool. That if you at the end of every session, if you get to know them better. But they have a special rule where if you feel like people know you less well, you can grant people negative hex, which is pretty cool. Anyway, Sawin, do you feel like you know anyone better?
I mean, if Sawin was more observant about how Juniper reacted when he said a favor given is a favored owed, I would say yes, but considering that he was not observant, I don't think it counts.
Yes.
Like he didn't really
He didn't see how hard it landed.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah. I agree. It's it's hard.
I will be without
That sounds good.
be without inspiration for the next time, which is
Yay!
I love this. Love this life for me.
I don't mind telling you right now in advance, just as a teaser. A little bit of a teaser. That the next session is going to open with an explosion.
Do you mind telling me whether Hold Person works on bears?
I don't know if Hold Person works on bears. I'll have to double check that.
Somebody
I would guess
it's not
yes.
a monster.
It's a beast.
So...
I would guess yes.
Okay.
If the wording has creature, then it would include humanoids and bears and animals in it.
Yeah.
But if it specifically says humanoid, then it means like a sentient
Humanoid.
Yeah, it says
humanoid.
humanoid.
Then
The bears are people too.
bears are not people too, sadly.
Well, they should.
Except that you were a bear who was a person too one time. I remember in a one shot we played one time.
Yes.
That was fun.
Actually, I got to do him again for a
Nice.
one shot that we ran last week, and he was just as delightful as I remember, and I love him.
Aww.
Yeah, we did a lasers with feelings. Lasers
Oh,
with feelings one.
Lasers
Yeah.
with Feelings is great. I love it. So anyway, if you enjoyed our stream, thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Please follow us or subscribe to us or both. I will not object to both, obviously. And let's see. We've got more games this week. We've got a game 10:30 on Thursday, and we've got another game next Monday at 5 o'clock. Both of those are one-shots in different systems. And then the following Thursday, we will be back to our usual Shimmering Seas content and all that good stuff. Hope you enjoyed yourself, and do not forget that it is very important that you call your cat and feed your mom.
And punch a fascist.
And punch a fascist.
All right.